Sorry for that. Welcome again, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Closing Acumen. Uh, love to see you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Hope you had a great weekend. We want to welcome you back to the Closing Acumen. The others will be joining us soon. Uh, uh, so we'd like to welcome Big Smoke, Gardner Williams. Uh, he said that hello, please change the show flyer. You're right. I mean, I'm not in the IT to do it. The people that are there will do it soon. We are working on it, and hopefully it will be changed soon. Miss Susan Pay, hi there, Susan. Welcome. Good to see you. Welcome to the Closing Acumen. CDC Papi, Success Keida for life. He's watching up from Duper Road. Good to see you. Good to see you. Jude J. One Way. Good evening. He's watching from Johnsonville. Welcome. Welcome. Welcome, my friend. Aliyu Kamar. It's good to see you. Good to see you. And good to see everybody. Those of you that are watching by YouTube as well. Welcome to the Closing Acumen. There's a lot happening. I believe there is a breaking news that have come up earlier. We're going to be bringing that to you on the issue of warrant for the arrest of some folks. Uh, so we ask you to stay tuned. Harris Kamar, great to see you. You can hear me now, Harris. Can you hear me now? So I hope you can hear me, guys. Ali said no sound. Okay, what's going on? You're not hearing me. Okay, let me get out. Okay, you hear me now. You can hear me now. If you can hear me, just say yes, yes. Well, guys, welcome to the closing acumen. Welcome. Again, hope you had a great weekend. Hope you had a great weekend. Uh, we are hearing unconfirmed report uh, that the okay, that sound great. Thank you, Susan Winifred. Good to see you, Michael Family. Good to see you, Harris Kamara. All of you guys, welcome. We are hearing unconfirmed report that the resident circuit judge of criminal court C, His Honor A. Blamo, has ordered the arrest and rearrest of some officials of government. Hey, Edwin Guar, good to see you. Uh, this is unconfirmed. This is being reported by the Variety News, but it's reported that the resident circuit court judge of criminal court C, His Honor A. Blamo Dixon, has ordered the arrest and rearrest of Samuel D. Twe, Nyanti Twan, Stanley Fall, Jefferson Camo, Moses Cooper. They have ordered the arrest. Uh, 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 so this is unconfirmed report that is reaching us. Welcome, Yamitro Sedu Mensa. Welcome, Mohammed Sharif. Welcome, James Coyote. Welcome. So this is the breaking news that we just received from the Variety News. Uh, that yep, it is true. Uh, there is a rate of arrest, indictment of arrest, what is say crimes, economic sabotage, fraud, internal revenue of Liberia, misuse of money, property, record, theft, and or illegal disbursement, expenditure of public money, theft of property, money laundering, criminal facilitation, criminal conspiracy. That's what been issued in the First Judicial Circuit Court C for Montserrat County, Republic of Liberia, sitting in its August term, before His Honor A. Dixon Blamo, and said the Republic of Liberia by and through the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission (LACC) plaintiff versus Samuel D. Twer, former Minister of Finance, Councillor Nati Twan, uh, former acting Minister of Justice, Stanley Fall, Director General of Financial Intelligence, D. Moses Cooper, former Financial Intelligence Controller, and Jefferson Kamoe, former National Security Advisor to the President Weah. So it says here, Republic of Liberia to Major Austin Sinufa Sharif, Montserrat County, Republic of Liberia, or his deputy. Greetings. You are hereby commanded to arrest the living bodies of Samuel D. Twer, Councillor Nati Twan, Stanley S. Ford, D. Moses Cooper, and Jefferson Kamoe. Defendants named in the above entitled cause of action charged with the commission of the above mentioned crimes based upon the indictment prepared against them by the grand jury duly settled in panel and sworn to inquire in for the people of Montserrat County, the Republic of Liberia, and to forthwith bring them before this honorable court, the First Judicial Circuit Criminal Assessee for Montserrat County, sitting in its August term AD 2024, to answer said charges mentioned supra. You are hereby further commanded to have your official return endorsed or the back of this rate of arrest indicating the manner, form of its service. And for so doing, this shall constitute your legal and sufficient authority. And have this writ of arrest giving honor my hand and seal of this honorable court this 6th day of August. Actually, it did come up August 6th. But guys, this is the breaking news that we just received from the criminal court seat, Judge Blamo, on the writ of arrest for the individual that we did call. So we'd like to welcome you guys as you make your way. Others will be joining us shortly. Welcome Muhammad Sharif, James Coyote, Harrison Conway, Joe Marcus, Edwin Crowd, the man, Susan Pay, Winifred Smith, Harrison Kamara, CDC, Papisa Seth Keita for life, Ayu Kamara, John J. Onwe, Big Smoke Good William. Guys, welcome as you make your way. Don't forget, you can do us one favor by sharing this on the closing argument. But that's the news. They have issued the arrest warrant. But let me talk to you about our plan moving forward. On September 20th, I believe is next week Friday. Bobby Notch, welcome. September 20, we will be hosting a special fundraiser here for the closing acumen. We'll be hosting, and the goal is to raise funds to keep our show going and to get it on for the next few days. I mean, coming on for the extra days that we don't come on. So that's the goal. And we share with you. We want to come to you live because you telling us that we shouldn't go. 3 days is not enough for you. And we appreciate you guys make the show. You got to make it happen. So because of that, on September 20th, we'll be hosting a special show to raise some money now, guys. We're talking about $5,000 we want to raise for the closing acumen. We can do it, and we must do it for the closing acumen. So if we'll be inviting some of you guys who watch our show to come up and be part of the fundraiser. You'll be our special, what we call lifter to help us do this. It will be on September 20th. We encourage you to join us. That's why we're giving you a long time. We'll have flyer up this week. We encourage you to join us. If you want to give anonymously, you can also give to us. But we want to make this a fundraiser, a big fundraiser. Today we receive, hey, my brother Mozart Dennis, welcome again, sir. Welcome to the Closing Acumen. This morning we receive a very heartfelt breaking news for one of Liberia's finest journalists, very fine, good man, good character, good heart, but he departed this world from us. Fidel Seti. If you know Fidel Seti, he was known to be on the show with our brother Henry Costa. And we understand that Fidel has suffered from some illness and passed. Our hearts, our thoughts and prayers are with him, and pray that his family will be comforted in such a difficult time. We pray that his family will be comforted. What a challenge! What a challenge! A lot of people, are passing. So we just keeping our prayer. Otello Swab, good to see you watching us from New Hope. But it was the passing of our friend and brother Fidel Seti. We pray for the family and pray God speed in such a difficult time. I know how challenging it is. We just lost the other guy named Trojan, and then Fidel went also passed this morning. What a tragic time, difficult time. You know, in time like this, situation, life is going on. You know, there are great things happening. There are new baby born. There are people departing this world. There are people getting married. You know, my friend Mr. Joshua Peel got married over the weekend. You know, and one of which he and his darling wife happy congratulate them on their wedding. They got married this weekend. So to Joshua Peel, my friend, and to you and your beautiful wife, I say congratulations and welcome. Yes, thank you. Mozart is watching the Closing Acumen. Guys, please hit the share button and before we get into our topic. But don't forget, we'd like to remind you, if you want to be part of the Closing Acumen on that day, on the 20th, next week Friday, when we'll do this big fundraiser, we invite you to come and join, come get on the platform and talk, and but we want to make sure we raise all the funds needed to keep the Closing Acumen is not going anywhere. It will be here for you, and you'll be able to watch it. But the news is, and then I was just reading. Okay, yes, he can do that. We can bring it on, and we can send him the link, or he can call. In regards to the death of our friend, he was a very, very close friend to our brother Henry Costa, and Brother Costa will. Thank you, Professor. Costa will also be joining us shortly to give a brief tribute to his friend, uh, Fidel City. Let's see when he comes on. Dr. Tomalin, welcome. Professor Kennedy will be joining us shortly as we talk about some of the happening Liberia's some of the concession, some of the agreement they are signing in different countries around in China. He will join us to break it down a little bit, and we'll also talk about the recent indictment, just the arrest, the writ of arrest that have been issued for those that we called earlier. But again, write it down on your calendar, keep it there. On the 20th of February, the closing acumen will host a special fundraiser for the closing acumen. Closing acumen hosting a fundraiser for the closing acumen. That's what we're going to be doing on the 20th. So we actually giving you 3 weeks to help us do this, and I know you can do it. I know you can do it. You love us, and you love the show. You want to keep the show going. So we ask that you join us. But Tomalin Joy is here. Welcome, Tomalin.
Yes, Dr. Peabody, it's a sad day for most of us, especially for those who used to listen to the Costa show. Fidel City, the young man that was introduced to the Liberian public on the Costa show by Heron Costa. And Heron Costa is on the line. He would like to at least pay a tribute or say something about this young man he brought to the Liberian people. Costa, you on live.
Thank you very much, my dear friend, and thanks to everyone on. I heard my namesake's voice, and everyone else that's on. I'm not watching now, but I'm I just, it's as you said, it's a terribly sad day. Fidel was an impressive and terrific young man. So full of life, easygoing, charming, brilliant, thoughtful, respectful, and to have lost him at such a tender age is deeply heartbreaking. And I went to see his family today, and I just couldn't hold back the tears, and I knew Fidel from when he was a teenager. Really, when he was a kid. Actually, we were at Lot Kerry together. He was many years my junior, and I was actually classmates with his elder cousins. And but I always, that early on, we knew the potential Fidel had. He was a smart young man, very well spoken, and he focused a lot on honing his talent. So when I started Voice FM in 2014, I brought Fidel on as a member of my news team. We had a news department, and Fidel, I believe was our news director. And then my first co-host left, Woods Yunton. I believe it was in 2016 or thereabouts. So Fidel took over and became my co-host. He stayed on until 2019. And even when he left the show, Fidel was still kind of with us. Every time we had some sort of jingle to produce for a client, a customer, I would always ask Fidel to do it for us, and he had moved on. He was with the AME University as the head of external relations, but he was still part of our family, and I watched as Fidel blossom into this promising, enterprising young man. He took a wife. He had a baby, and I was so proud of him, and for us to have lost him at this when he was trying to really make a family and make a real impact in this world is very, very sad. Yeah, very, very sad.
Yes. I know today is a very sad day for every one of us, especially you. You introduced this young man to the Liberian public, and one of the things you'll be remembered for is like you said, the jingle, all the advertisement that was played on the show. He was just good at that. Very very brilliant young man, very outspoken, eloquent. Um, I mean, he like you said, he at so young, so much young age, he just left us, and he was still. He was always supportive of anything people was doing, especially when it comes to media. So I don't know, but it's sad for you. So we just want to say our prayers with his family and to you who brought him to this public. And we are out of words right now. Peabody?
Yes, Henry, namesake, I want to firstly express my sincere condolences. I did follow you and Fidel when you guys had the show, and you guys really worked great together. He was always in the back. I still remember that famous name, Fidel, 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 coming, Fidel, coming, Fidel. What do you say about that? But namesake, what I want to ask you for about Mr. Costa, how do you want Fidel to be remembered?
Yeah.
How can the Liberian people, how can we remember Fidel today?
That's a very good question, Dr. Peabody. How do we remember Fidel? Fidel may have lived a brief life, relatively speaking, died at 30, 38, but not a lot of 38-year-olds, when they die, cause such widespread grief and mourning and heartbreak as does Fidel's passing. That says a lot. It goes to show that he really did make an impact. People came to admire him. People came to love him. People came to respect him. But I think Fidel's greatest legacy is, and that is to answer your question, how best Fidel can be memorialized, is his time on the Costa show, because that is what made him this public figure. When I went to see his parents this afternoon, they were telling me how, even at the hospital, how it was a ruckus. The nurses were coming in and out. Oh, that's Fidel City from the Costa show. And people were treating him with such, reverence and compassion because it was Fidel City. And from the way they were discussing it, even in their grief, the pride that it gave them, that their son was so recognized and so loved and so admired. They said people were taking turns to go into his room, his house, while he was lying there on the bed to see him, just because it was Fidel Sadie, So I think the work he did alongside me all those years, I think has earned him a place in people's hearts and minds. And, people like Fidel, people like the late Charles Guillon, people are not easily forgotten. They're not easily forgotten. So I think, a great man once said, what we do in this life echoes in eternity. And the deeds we do, the great deeds that we do in life, immortalize us. They live on beyond our time on this earth, which is transient. And so I think that's how best Fidel will be remembered. His sharp-witted mind, his he was a patriot. He was a soldier, and a great soldier, howbeit very young, has fought, and he will be dearly missed.
I want to say again our condolences to his family, Costa, and to Costa show to you. And in fact, I know somebody who just joined, Professor Kennedy. He just came on, and all of you guys used to be with Fidel on the show, I think, at one point in time. Maybe he want to say something to you before you leave us. Professor Kennedy, Costa is on the phone.
Yeah, man. I am so stunned that because I only knew of Fidel through Pedro and the Costa show, and Fidel was so eloquent, and that even after he left the show, I was connecting with him intermittently when he was over at the university. So here's a situation where you have a young man. Costa just mentioned his age because I was asking like, how old was he? 38. That is way too young, right? That is way too young because this is the point in time when you have someone who touched the hearts of so many people. I always used to enjoy, like Fidel would take his position on the Costa show. There would be a little bit of, not necessarily agreeing with everything Costa is saying. It would go back and forth. And it create that atmosphere in the program where you can disagree and you can also agree on certain things. So Fidel was a highly intelligent young man. And to hear the news of someone like Fidel, it touches me the same way, Pedro, like how when our man Chucky passed away, the same that tender young age, 30s and so. So I mean, my heart really, really goes out to his family, and this is not supposed to be happening to people at this age. We need to really do something and make the change. That's why the life expectancy like period is so short, man. We can't let these young people who have such good promise, I'm telling you, to just lose them. So, man, I just, I saw it in the chat. You guys posted it in the chat, and I was like, man, this is Pedro's. This is one of the young people that Pedro groomed, and this guy was having an impact in the society. So I think I would just kind of repeat what my brother Henry just mentioned. He touched the lives of so many people. So at that age, his passing is going to be really, really missed, right? It's going to be really impactful. It's really, really going to be missed. So sad to hear this news, man.
Yes. Costa, any last word before we take leave of you?
Sure. Thank you very much, Larry. Thank you for the very warm sentiments expressed. So I'm thinking I'm going to be hosting a special edition of the Costa Show in Fidel's memory.
Wow.
It's going to be a one-off, and I'm thinking sometime this week we're going to come on and we're going to play the theme song, and and we're going to do a whole session and bring some folks on, and just eulogize Fidel and then do some fundraiser as well for the family to identify as a way of the, identifying with the family. So we're going to do that. And Larry, of course, you're definitely, we're going to reach out to you as well to join us on this special edition.
Absolutely.
So, So we're gonna do that. And of course, I have a little bit of a nostalgia for the mic, so of course. I'm relishing the prospect of taking a dip in the pool and jumping right back out. All right, guys, thank you so much.
That's a breaking news.
Thanks, Pedro.
That show comes on this week. At least Fidel bringing you up.
The details.
Okay, bro.
Fidel deserves that.
Yes.
Yeah. Thanks for doing it, Pedro.
Okay.
That'll be great, man. That'll be really great.
Yes, guys. That's the situation. That's that. How do you call him? George Winner. He wrote something today that was a glowing tribute to these guys. He talked about Mamadi Diakate, Zenu, Miller, Trojan, Kazulu, and Fidel City. How do we all meet in heaven, in heavenly realm? And you envision a radio station, a sanctuary where the air will vibrate on told stories of divine wisdom. That was a good. I want you guys to read visit his page. It's a glowing tribute. He's for young men, for young promising journalists that just left. That was so early. But just pray that their legacy will continue to be fetched by everyone, and the short time they had on earth, the impact they made will always be remembered. Let's continue to pray for good health for everyone and our health system. Just pray that all will be well. One of these days that you can go to the hospital and come out, no matter the kind of illness, whatever the case, you'll be able to survive it. But our thoughts and prayers to the family, and we pray that young Fidel soul will rest in peace. Yeah.
It's sad, really sad, and as well, I join everybody else with my thoughts and prayers with him, the family as well, for such a young man. And like Professor Kennedy said, our country, very young, promising people would just see the demise like that. I mean, I know health and healthcare is a major issue. And for that reason, if they can travel somewhere else, definitely it's almost a challenge of living, making it through the challenges. And it's really sad. It's really sad because I know, like Trojan and Fidel, I'm sure if we had the healthcare in our country, those guys would have detected what was wrong for a long time, a long time ago. But we don't have it. So it's almost by the grace and mercy of God that people are living and dealing with healthcare. Our healthcare situation is just a challenge, seriously, in Liberia, and it will continue to be like that. And we just hope for the best. But our thoughts and prayers and best wishes with his family. That's all.
And this is why, like President Biden said, show me your budget and I will tell you your priorities, right?
Yeah.
Because you look at the budget and you see people are fussing and doing all this nonsense over expensive cars for governmental officials.
Mm-hmm.
When the government officials get sick, they fly out of the country. They go to Ghana, they go to Morocco, they come to the US or Europe.
Right.
And then you leave the people then home. You don't use the same healthcare system that you are in charge of. You don't use it. You're in charge of that healthcare system, but you don't use it. And then you leave the people who can buy the $5,000 plane ticket or so to stay there and deal with that, right?
Yep.
And these are the people and resources and taxes you're using.
Right.
And this happens time and time again. Like my man, the chief was just saying, and you were saying as well, Doc. Look at the names, man. Mama Didi Akate, there are people over there who used to argue for the government at one time, like Lawrence Randall. You look at these people, and they're young, in their 30s, prime of life. That's why we're losing them. Why? We just don't invest in the healthcare sector. We just don't do it. So we got to change the priorities in our country, man. There has to be something that will motivate the leaders to pay close attention to investing in our healthcare. Something.
Exactly.
Eventually this thing is going to boil over, and somebody one day is going to say, "Look, enough is enough," because we can't keep moving in this direction.
Professor Kennedy, even though you are panelist about today, I think we're treated as a guest today. We want you to really want to tell us about this. But before we do that, we'll let Togar weigh in about on Fidel passing too. But in the meantime, be thinking about this whole trip to China, the benefits for Liberia.
I'm already pissed off. If you don't pass it, you bring that thing up now. You just want me to get loose. You're asking for.
When Togar get his thoughts about Fidel, to talk about the China trip, because I know these are things that you do with in your daily life, your daily career, because people are confused. People giving the understanding about memorandum of commitment, memorandum of understanding, memorandum of. I'm sure at least you will help us to, as the Liberian people, understand what it's all about and whether there's some goodies there for us. But Togar, I know you know Fidel, so just say your short thing about Fidel before we move to Professor Kennedy to get us started.
Yes, thank you, man. So let me say greetings to everybody. So the media community is bereaved today. We lost a very phenomenal guy, Fidel City. He used to be on the Costa show as his co-host. And then later he started to work for the ANU University as his communication person. I also heard him sometimes on Banan FM. Then I also heard him on ABC radio. You know, so he's been around the place, interacting with everyone. He was a very humble soul, very interactive with the rest of his colleagues. So the media community is mourning today, and this is happening just a few months after the death of another very, interesting guy whose funeral we all attended just a week or so ago. But it's my understanding that Fidel has been sick for a couple of months, like around 4 months or so. But the family kept it tight. But it's regrettable, man. It's regrettable. Yeah. So the entire media community is bereaved. Journalists have been posting all day. Most of the talk shows here have been talking about it. People across the country have been phoning into favorite radio shows about him. And that's how he's been here. And he's been heavily too rainy in the country. I went to a school in Buchanan called St. Peter Claver Catholic School.
Oh, you went there too?
And yeah, I went to St. Peter too. And
were there? You went there when the 80s?
Oh, really? You went there too? Yeah, I graduated. In fact, I graduated from St. Peter. And September 9 is our anniversary. And there was never a September 9 that did not rain. Because I knew we paraded every other September 9 on a heavy downpour. And today was another example. As always, heavy downpour of rain in the country today. And I thought it was just about Buchanan thing, but it fell heavily in Monrovia. And then I saw Joe Lawson. Joe Lawson is still the head of the St. Peter's Alumni Association, and he was talking about heavy downpour of rain in Buchanan. So we're all just, I was reading them talking about it. And these are people that left the school since the 80s.
Yeah.
And they know that September now is always pouring like this. So that's what's been happening here. But thank you very much for the opportunity.
That is seen September 9, the Capitol door, right?
Yes, the scene September 9. That door was captured, yes.
Okay. So, Professor Kennedy, let's say the president went to China with a huge delegation.
I'm here. My camera is getting problem. I'm on the show, though.
Oh, I said, sorry. Yeah, Professor Pewee, Mr. Pewee. Yeah, you're weighing on about Fidel. We'll move on to Professor Kennedy.
Yeah, basically, this is a very great loss to the country and to journalism. He was a very cool young man, and Costa said all. So basically, what I would say is a very. I hope that his legacy will endure, and we just have to maintain the process of promoting his legacy and recall most of the things he did in academia, where he ended his basically, and then from there journalism. But one of the things I would love to say here is that most of these things is not basically. I agree we have a very challenged health system in our country, but it's not all about most of the folks that were dropped today and unfortunately they died. It's about the system. Now, one of the problems we have, and we all, including myself, back in Liberia, we normally don't have the culture of always visiting the doctor. We don't do those things, and I think we will have to now begin the process about trying to introduce this system about frequently trying to visit doctor. Even if you see JFK, sometimes they will detect some things. They will detect some things. I agree. I'm not saying it's good. It's a very challenging system. Our health system is very challenged. It is, but it's a process that we normally don't try to do. And again, I just talked to even correct MC. They said Lauren Ronald did not die in Liberia. Unfortunately, his demise, he died right here in America. So some of these things, I agree our system is challenged. But again, we will have to just practice this culture about trying to visit doctors and trying to detect most of those things at a very early stage where it can be combated. We have millions of Liberians. We have found that most of our time we spend in Liberia. If sometimes we feel this way, we see the doctors. We have good doctors. Despite the system is challenged, we have some of the best doctors in Monrovia, in the country, across the country. If these things are detected early, I want to believe believe that there can be some intervention. If there's a need for referral, then those doctors would do the appropriate thing to do that. So I think it's unfortunate. This is a very devastating hit on the media community and the young people in the country, because it's too reverberated at the time in the country in terms of our country democracy and the social cycle. But it's quite unfortunate that he met his untimely demise at this time. Sometimes it's just a general portrait of the particular Liberian men. We should learn now to visit the doctors and see the little thing we can do. Yeah, so I mean, just that part of it. I'm looking forward to soon be some we're in heavily on this China issue. I believe last time there was some benefit. I will spend most of my time as to reviewing the public policy agenda and what the focus is about. So yeah, Liberia started benefiting already from the Friendly Nation Transport Agreement. So there's going to be a lot of benefits coming up from mostly from the focus. If the Chinese are very focused on that, but I'm waiting to weigh in later on as we move on to the country. And also one of my icon actors that I follow very deeply with the deep voice, with the booming voice, the actor in Coming to America, the King of Zamuza, just died at the age of 93 or so, and someone that I really follow deeply. So I mean, we look forward to going along the show. Thank you.
Okay, now, thank you, Sylvester Pewee. Professor Kennedy, it's good to see you again. And there's the trending news all over the country about the trip that was made to China. One of the news, the executive mansion reported that Liberia signed a $100 million project on road financing and infrastructure development in Beijing on the margins of the Forum on Africa-China Cooperation. It also said Liberia signs a $3 billion memorandum of commitment for the development of an oil refinery in Buchanan, Grand Bassa County on the margins of the Forum on China-Africa Cooperation in Beijing. It also said that President Boyka and President Xi Jinping had a bilateral talks in Beijing. And President Boyka also visited the city of Shenzhen, the economic zone and technological hub in China. And lastly, the president he visited the tech giant of Hawaii and witnessed the signing of 2 MOUs for major digital programs with LTA and MOPT. Tell us, man, help us break down all of these signings. I know people, I mean, most people are excited that the goodies are coming to Liberia. We're going to get a lot of jobs. Our country is going to open up, and $3 billion in our economy for development and infrastructure. I mean, a lot of good things we're hearing. So help us to understand. Maybe we can celebrate, or we should take a pause.
So let's break it down. But real quick, Pee Wee, even though Lawrence Randall passed away in Liberia, the U.S., by the time he got there, he was very sick. The same thing happened to the former public works minister. By the time they leave the country to go for treatment, it's too late. Over 12 African presidents have died in hospitals in Europe. By the time they get there, it's too late. The problem is the local system is not developed to treat them. By the time they rush for treatment, it is way too late. So the underlying issue is the healthcare system in Liberia. We need to focus on that. But let me say this. Memorandum of understanding, memorandum of commitment, they're like toilet paper. They're meaningless until you actually have a contract, because it's not a contract where you can hold someone's feet to the fire in court and get paid for it. Here's the thing that people need to realize. If you look back over the past 40 years, Liberia have signed a bunch of memorandum of understanding. How is that working so far? It's meaningless, because since the early 80s, the income per person in Liberia has only increased about $300 to $400, whereas other countries that have made better use of their resources, their income has grown 1,000%. If you look at places like Botswana, places like Kenya, Rwanda, all those other countries, the income have increased. Memorandum of understanding is just saying, oh, you know something? I'm going to work alongside you, Pee Wee. I'm going to work alongside you, Chief. It's not a contract. Guess what makes it even worse? Guess what they're not telling you? What are the concessions that they're going. Well, first of all, you need to understand nothing is free, right? There's no such thing as a free good. There's going to be something in it for China. That something is going to be concession. What is this? What are the concessions that we're going to give up to get this money that China is promising? China is promising that they're going to give this money, but they're going to get something in return. It is concession. What is the concession? Anybody know? We don't know yet. Stop dancing around when you don't even know if you're going to be giving up your firstborn for a little penny of change. Let me tell you why this is so silly. If you look around Africa, we have a lot of resources. Look at the Democratic Republic of the Congo. We have a resource in there that is in every smartphone on the planet. HPX, for example, was promising about 500 million in development for Liberia and promising to give Guinea, I think maybe like around $700 to $800 million or so. But you know how much HPX is going to make for the concession they have in Guinea? When you do the math on how much the price of iron ore, HPX is going to pull about 10 billion. 10 billion. They're giving you $200 to $300 million in development and pulling 10 billion out of your country. You think that's a good deal? It's simply because we have no clue. We have followed the same thing over and over and over. It hasn't worked. The reason, let me tell you this, and I will pass it back to you, Chief. By September 25th, 26th or so, Liberia will probably get news from the IMF of a new extended credit facility, a new ECF. It would give Liberia another access to about 200 million or so in loans. This is the same Liberia that was just having problems making that debt payment. The same Liberia just having problems making that debt payment. They're taking on another debt for about 200 million from the IMF in ECF. But haven't we seen this movie before? In 2019, didn't CDC come in, said they were experiencing problems, and they went to the IMF and it landed in the same extended credit facility program? CDC did the same thing in 2019. And by 2020, by March of 2020, when COVID hit, they struggled because the economy around the world slowed down and they struggled. By the time IMF came in and said, oh, you know, that money we gave you, now you have to do harmonization. That's why people were crying around. So the money that the Chinese are promising is probably just a fraction of what the resources in the country is worth. If they give you 100 million, it's probably worth maybe about 5 to 6 times that, probably even more than that. It could probably even worth maybe about 10, 15 billion. You don't know what they're actually getting. The Chinese not going to give you anything for free. So people need to ask the government, what are the concessions we're giving the Chinese for this supposedly loan? You know, it's not for free. So that memorandum of understanding and commitment, we've been getting that thing for 40, 50 years. It doesn't pan out. It's absolutely meaningless. Don't celebrate it until you have the cash in hand and you know what exactly you're giving up. That's the point I want to make.
Professor, let me ask this question. We're seeing billions of dollars. What does Liberia really have to offer to sign these memorandum of understanding besides the iron ore? I mean, the Wolagisi Mountain. What do you think Liberia really have to offer when you talk about $3 billion? Even though it's a memorandum of commitment, what does Liberia really have to offer to get to that amount?
And that's a great question. Liberia has a ton of resources. Wolagisi is one of them. HPX is going to benefit from the Guinea side of the mountain up there in Nimba. That's where they're going to benefit. Wolagisi is a huge one. Gold is a huge one. We know the Chinese at one time was even taking things like sand out of the country. So there's a lot of resources: timber, gold, oil palm or palm oil, which is in pretty much every product. Even the orange soda we'll be drinking, the soap we'll be using, it got palm oil in it. Iron ore, look at the price of what iron ore is trading at. So those are the kind of resources that the Chinese the fact that China is doing a lot of development, putting up a lot of skyscrapers, putting up a lot of buildings, they need raw materials to keep this up. Where have we seen this before? We saw it during the original colonial times, when all the people from Europe, from Spain, from Portugal came over to Africa to look for resources. So it's a type of neo-colonialism, right? We have a lot of resources. We just haven't figured out how to monetize our resources, because the leaders listen to the same people over and over again, telling them the same lies, not having the technical know-how. And as a result, the people suffer. Resources are not endless, Doc. And I think Togar will agree. The resources in our country, it's not like the goose that's laying the golden egg. It's not going to keep happening. It's not going to be there forever. You're eventually going to run out. We saw Senegal deplete the fish in the ocean, and it came to Liberia to do fishing. So your resources can be depleted. So if something is not done, you will end up with deforestation, because all of your timber will be gone. You will have given up your iron ore for concession, because the IMF ECF program forces you to only borrow money on concessionary terms. That's why it's so messed up. It is such a bad thing. You go for the extended credit facility, and IMF say you can only borrow now through concessions. And then the worst thing too is, look, the first place you should have gone, considering how much money you receive from the US, you probably would have tried to make an effort to meet up with the US first before you go run into China, that the US is in direct opposite of opposition or competition with. So it's our resources, Doc, to answer your question.
I would just go to ask that question in regards to the US. That's my second question, and somebody else can come in. But there is a Chinese high tech company, I may not pronounce it right, called Huawei, HUWA, I think YE or something. And they said that the U.S. government have warned people about doing business with this company. The U.S. government, they are a Chinese intelligence or security company, high tech company. But I see that the Liberian government have signed a couple of memoranda of commitment with these people. They have signed, different stuff. What do you think would be the United States reaction to Liberia and signing contract with this very company that U.S. have warned folks that not to do business with, and all of that?
Huawei, I think Huawei is officially banned in the U.S. There's a reason why Huawei do not do business in the U.S., right? And then to see that you're having these type of meetings with Huawei and not understanding the geopolitical implication of doing business with them, somebody is just not giving you the right advice. You're not getting the right advice. There are so many other high-tech companies you can bring over to Liberia, but Huawei is not one of them, for good reasons. Just how the U.S. is concerned about certain social media platforms that can be used to influence the elections, or something that's controlled by the Chinese government. You don't want to be doing business with people that the U.S. is in direct opposite of, because you get on the U.S. bad side, your 150 to 200 million you're receiving in grants, it may go away. And some people will say, look, hey, we haven't benefited anything from the U.S. sending us this money. That's because you haven't really looked at the data. You really have not looked at the data when you say that. Because what is your contention? Go to China. China doesn't care much about human rights. China does not care a whole lot about human rights. And if you look at Chinese human rights record, it's not the best. There's a reason why executives, like when we travel, we were giving way back then, we were giving something called, it was a phone made by a company called Research in Motion. You may know it as BlackBerry. The reason why we had BlackBerry when it first came out is because the Chinese and the Saudis couldn't hack into BlackBerry to eavesdrop on executives' conversations or U.S. government official conversations. The Chinese spy on all of their citizens. So the human rights record is not the best in the world, and I don't think that I would want to, if I'm in a leadership position in Liberia, to be doing business with China right now. Doesn't mean that, hey, we can't, trade, but they're not going to be my first option when it comes to developing my country and my economy. They're not going to be my first option.
So in reality, so what is really what's really coming back home? What's really the delegation bringing back home? What really
You're
coming
coming
back?
back with a piece of paper that if you really jam, you can go in the toilet and you can use it. It's gonna be worthless, Chief. It's gonna be meaningless. You're not coming back. We've seen this thing. You're not coming back with a piece of paper saying there's a commitment in place. But what you need to see, what are we giving up? Nothing is free, Chief. Nothing is free. What are the concessions we're giving up? You know, Chief, we can sign a memorandum of understanding that put in place the rules of engagement. That's fine. But when we move that over now to a contract where I'm receiving something, and contract has to be a mutual arrangement, meeting of the minds, where I'm receiving something and you're receiving something in return. Let's look at the fine print in that contract. What are the concessions Liberia is giving up? That is the one thing I would be really, really concerned. And that's what the people should be asking. What are the concessions Liberia are giving up to China for this future commitment or contract? What are the concessions we're giving up?
Chris, welcome. Pewee, welcome again. Chris, you want to
Thank
chime
you.
in?
Yeah, I would like to say it's good to be here. Chris Guar is my name. And I just came into the conversation while Professor Kennedy was speaking. So I don't have nothing much to say. I just give a little bit of input on this whole Chinese is it MOC or MOU? Which one is, I don't know which one is which. But I personally feel that because China has taken over 80% of Africa already. To tell you the truth, I was just in Ghana. I saw everywhere we went, the Chinese people, they were on top of things. And I will ask Professor Kennedy, being that what is being said and done about Liberia since 1847, and then when the other people took over after 1847, because before that time, before the war and the coup, the 1980 coup, Liberia was way better. We all know it because we all, I think, Togar, you were born in the 70s? Or you 80, you were born in the 80s? You Peking? We who were born in the 70s and we fought ourselves by 1983 that we knew that we were better here. Look, Liberia was way better. And then because of greed and hate, tribalism, all kinds of things. When other people felt that other people should be responsible for them. Oh, the people need to be responsible. They need to do this for us. And they took over this country and destroyed the country to the core. America has been sending money to these corrupt politicians, corrupt to the core, that they are so greedy for money and they're so mean and evil. They will take this money and use it for them, their families' money. When push comes to shove, we will see them in the dumper because they will not be able to use the money right because it's not rightfully theirs. So we know that will happen. But they took the money and America kept on giving them money. They keep on taking the money. I don't know why America don't have a strategy to say, okay, we will use this money that we're giving these people. Ourselves will come to the country and be able to bring all the equipment that they need, and we'll hire the people on the ground, monitoring to do what they're supposed to do for the country. America don't have that time. They got too many people to help. I was just coming from working in the parking lot. I saw a white woman, homeless, in her car with her 3 children. She stopped me because she saw my badge, asking me what benefits she could get. I asked her everything. She told me, say she did get 1 or 2 things. It can't even pay her rent because the cheapest rent here in York, Pennsylvania is $1,200 for a 2-bedroom. And she was homeless. And I had only $6 on me. Because, we use card. I took my $6 and gave it to her to help her and give her some information. But I say this to say that our people, they are greedy, they are evil, they won't know what to do with this money. America been giving them the money for send her what support. Yet right now the Chief Justice, the kind of money she making, say people in America here, that Chief Justice, he been making that kind of money for a poor country. So we want the Chinese then to come. Seriously. If we want the Chinese, they should enter this country, do it like they did Ghana and the rest of the places. They get $10 billion credit line. Get a work credit line or get in the money or come there and get in a credit line. Bring the equipment in the country. Do the work for the job. They did a coastal highway. I know that was the Peabody Chinese. And the SKG sports complex was supposed to be Togar sports complex, but when the man took over, he put it in your knee. That the kind of thing they do, they steal your work. So, you know, we want the Chinese to come. Because for us to see like we're better in the day and age, maybe some other country need to take over this country and fix the country where it's supposed to be. Because as we can see, the Americans have been happy like bro for since I don't know when. And Liberians themselves have not done nothing but steal and kill each other and get a high paid certain group of people get hundreds of thousands of dollars, and the people who do the actual work get $115 to go home, and the children's school fee got $375 a year. So to me, I don't know. I know where you're coming from when you say, oh, you know, that we should be careful and this and that. But at this point in time, we don't have no choice. The Chinese people, you're hearing me, you please come. Just hurry up.
So let me ask you a question, Grace. Can you give me an example of a country that China went in and they developed?
Oh, yes. The Chinese went into Ghana. Although they used
the Chinese didn't do it in Ghana.
They went through the government. They went through the government to develop the country. Because everywhere you go in Ghana right now, the supermarkets, the Chinese are behind it. The hotels, the Chinese are behind it. The Ghanaian people work for them. So how did they do that? They did not. They did it some way. So to me, I don't know much about this topic, but I will tell you the way they did it. Maybe they could do it for like bro like that. Because if they take that money and put it in the rogues there, those thieves, those evil people, those people from hellfire, why sitting in their position and why giving $10,000 in church offering? I don't know what they're trying to prove. If they give it to them, our country finish again. Then they will come and tell them what give money and me will go in vain because certain people will take the money and put it in their pocket and they will not do the work.
Let me say something real quick. Ghana managed to develop because Ghana has a sovereign debt rating. It's like a credit score. Ghana can go to the international sovereign market and they can borrow billions, which is what they're using to develop the country. And even when they struggle with it, they would ask the IMF for a bailout. So it's not the Chinese who's really doing it. One thing that China does, which is going to really hurt the small business people in Liberia, China has a tendency to do dumping. The little small people there who making even things like slippers in the market, China will put them out of business because China is looking for places to dump their products. People have filed cases against China with the World Trade Organization, the WTO, because of China's behavior. So China hasn't shown in any capacity to go into any country and help to develop that country. They tend to go into these countries, have very good concessions, pull a lot of resources out, and then use the country also as a dumping ground for the cheap material that they develop. So that's something to really be concerned about. Ghana really helped themselves because they have very good credit rating, and Ghana always use highly technical people in very highly technical positions to make this happen.
So who Ghana has the credit ratings with? Because I know Senegal.
So Ghana has credit ratings. Yeah, there are three major credit agencies, right? There's Moody's, there's Fitch Investor Services, there's Standard & Poor's. Those three credit agencies are the ones who can go and say, look, listen, this country is stable. This country is able to pay its debt. As a result, you can go and borrow money. Because of that, China can borrow billions from the international market because they have credit ratings with Standard & Poor's, Fitch, and Moody's. So that's what China has done. The countries in Africa that are doing this, like Botswana, South Africa, China, and other countries in the ECOWAS region, there's a handful of them. You need credit rating to borrow money, not on concessionary terms, because concessions, you don't know the true value of your iron ore. Our people don't know the true value of the iron ore. If they hire experts to say, look, this iron ore is worth 100 million, and they're doing a concession with China for 100 million, then you can say, okay, we're on par. We're doing an equal trade. But that has never happened in the history of Liberia. So I'll be highly suspicious when China comes in and say they're going to promise you $100 million. What are you giving in return? It's what we have never seen in the past. When we find out, it's a little too late. That's when people then start complaining, oh, These people that pulling all this iron ore, they're pulling all this rubber out of here, all these things out of here. We don't benefit from it because we cut very bad deals from the onset. So that's how Ghana did it, the sovereign debt ratings.
I see. Well, at this point in time, my last question. At this point in time, I don't know what else that Liberia will fall into. This country is being seized. And you know how when people on a ship, they go into a destination, and all of a sudden say the ship was seized, they change their destination to another, that how the country has been seized. But the certain group of people in the country need to be a rescue. Now with Joseph Boakai rescue, Joseph Boakai rescue. Yeah, their country needs somebody from somewhere else to come and rescue the country, maybe a different country than where we are right now.
I totally agree with you. The country needs to be rescued. I agree with you. No argument from me on that one, Grace.
But Professor, so y'all move this stuff, man. Please, y'all move this stuff. We're talking. I mean, who with this stuff? Well, okay. Yeah. Economists are saying that the excessive loan that Liberia is taking from the IMF and so forth. I mean, the IMF could jeopardize the IMF program of Liberia, and also China, the Chinese development package for Liberia, whatever they want to do for Liberia. How do we explain it that the IMF about to give us a loan again, coming put us in more debt? So with the IMF, would they be comfortable with the Chinese investment that they are trying to make? Would they be comfortable with it? They're not going to say nothing about it?
So the IMF will give Liberia a warning, but I think the IMF loan is going to happen before China actually step in to give this other loan. Remember now, Liberia has been they got different type of risk level. When you are at high risk of default on your debt, the IMF is very cautious on giving you any new loan. Liberia has been at this moderate level for a long time. But Liberia has missed making debt payments. When COVID hit, the IMF put together a package that said, you guys, any country that was interested in it, the IMF said, you don't have to make any debt payment for almost a year. Well, I think it was a little less than a year. It's like 8 months. You could tell the countries then who have been struggling. Liberia was one of them. They were begging the IMF to enter that program where they weren't making debt payments. Countries like Botswana never entered that program because the country had a stable economy. They were being well managed. They never entered the program. To your question, Chief, the IMF, like the World Bank, these guys are there to make money. No matter how you cut it, they're there to make money. Just how somebody with bad credit in America can go for a payday loan. Somebody will be willing to lend them money. The IMF is doing the same thing to countries like Liberia and other countries and keep putting them into more and more and more debt. It's not a good thing, but the IMF does it because there's money in there to be made. There's money in there to be made. So anybody who is saying this is going to put the country at risk, totally agree with them. Totally agree with them. Because if I remember the CBL report, I think we may be spending about $35 to $40 million a year just for debt servicing. That's a lot of money. When you have about 89 to 92% of your budget going to recurring expenditures, and part of that recurring expenditures is for you to make debt payments, you have very little left in development. That's why the country is not developing. That's why the healthcare system, the education, the roads, and all these things, they're not going anywhere. We leave very little for development. We spend so much money on travels, on new cars, paying people's cell phone bill, whole lot of nonsense. Very little goes into the things that will help develop the country. The education, teach the young people, boost up the education, the healthcare. You can't go to school if you're sick. You can't go to work if you're sick. Those are the kind of things that lead to development, but we don't invest in that. So, yeah, I say we will be putting ourselves in even a little bit more risk by taking on more debt because we haven't shown a way to manage the resources when we get it. It's just, it's just a revolving door, man. It's the same cycle. Year after year after year, we go through the same thing with no chance of really growing. Liberia is still a top 10 poor country in the world. So I agree, Chief. I agree with people who are saying it's going to put us at greater risk with this new debt.
Okay. Can I come in?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. My issue is basically not just about the debt. My issue basically is about the loans we take. What do we actually even do with the loan we take? I think that's one of the basic concerns. For example, I'm in a place where I see Liberians go to the bank here, and they'll go and tell the bank that they want to do business, for example, or they're into business already, and so the bank gives them a loan based on what business they have. The Liberian man will go take, and I have many of the instances like during the election, a lot of people will call you and say they took the bank's money and they can't pay the bank back. But then you go to check, and you get to realize the Liberian man will take the man's money from the bank, maybe $2,000 to $5,000. He's supposed to come and put it into business that's supposed to develop into something to pay the man back. When the Liberian man takes the man $5,000 from the bank, the Liberian man goes to the boutique, starts to get new shoes, and new clothing. He forgets totally that he took the money to do business. He starts using part of that money on himself, so now he go buy land. 1-2 months later, when it's time to start paying back, then Liberian men start crying. Oh, did the bank get on offer money? But because you did not use the money for the purpose that you took the money for. The same thing happening with us as a country. It's just a Liberian mentality. You take the people money, but you don't put it into the requisite things. So, for example, if you were bringing 100 million that we are from China also, and you think that bulk of that money should be used, for example, in the Southeast. Why the Southeast? You want to open the road in the Southeast because you know there will be goods and services coming along that route. You can put a toll to it. You will be raising money from there. There will be a lot of companies that want to venture to do business in Liberia. The cost is even very high. I don't blame some of these companies. Take, for example, when Metal just moved to Liberia, Metal had to be taking more than 20 to 30 trucks, few trucks on the road to Buchanan every day. No electricity. So the company had to be moving trucks, buying a few. In fact, when Metal is taking 40 trucks to Buchanan, so now almost 10 go missing from stealing. Because I know boys in the sector who were making maybe $200-300 a few click, but they became rich. So the guys will put the stuff in the hole, and they make it appear like the fuel is actually going. When the fuel not even going, and they're putting it down and telling the Indian man or whoever is sitting and taking note that yes, a $45,000 tanker just offloaded. Nothing offloaded in our hole. So you know how it was costing the company to operate alone. So one of the things we got to, so you must be taking the money to invest into something that brings money. Could you say you want to invest into your electricity program, power generation? And because you know how much money you would make. If this entire country was electrified, you know how much money government would make? But we bring the money, what we do? We pay president $22,000 a month. We pay LTA people $15,000 a month. We pay Chief Justice $20,000 a month. Somebody say at the poll we get them $21,000 a month. The way we use the people money. Other countries, and like Grace said, I agree with, other countries are actually moving with the Chinese money. To tell you the truth, if you went to places like Kenya now, you will see high-speeding, how you call the thing, moving right now in China. The train. That's something I would say our children will not see yet in generations. We might not even see a train moving, the one that can carry passengers. The only train our children see in Liberia is the one that can carry the iron ore. We're never going to see the one for transportation. Right now, the people are using that in Kenya. I slept in a hotel in Ethiopia built by the Chinese strictly for the Ethiopian government. That's Khaled. In fact, I'm told that even the people airstrip built by the Chinese. So people are utilizing the Chinese money and doing serious development.
Seriously.
But they're using it for serious things. For all, we get the money and we put it on frivolous issue. Do we need to take 60 persons to China, for example? No. The number of people alone that we talk to the people country, the people can know straight that you're not serious. I think there were over 40 something or 20 something presidents went to China before I left, right? I think the Chinese president only went to work on 2 or 3 directly himself at the airport. And when you notice the people that the Chinese president himself went to the airport to meet that were serious people, serious countries that they see as partners, that the people the Chinese president took his own time to go to the airport to work on. He's not going to work on you that taking more than 60% on a delegation. He doesn't take you seriously. So the way we treat ourselves, I just wanted to say that in passing, Professor Kennedy. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Togar said it's one thing to get the money, but what they do with the money is a totally different story. The money is like you using a sifter or a bucket with holes to go to the well to dig out water. So now you put it in there, the money comes right out through the bottom of the bucket. That's what they do. And you're right. I mean, how do you consider somebody to be actually serious when you bring such a large delegation? You only need maybe a handful of people, maybe 5 at most. Now, to Togar's point, if you're going to borrow $100 million, if you're going to borrow $100 million and you're giving concession, let's say you give concession about $150 million, and then because you know your system is so corrupt, part of the arrangement is to bring in contractors to do that work. It's good and it's bad. The good thing is you will see something productive at the end of the day, right? The bad thing is the money now, those contractors that unless the Chinese are going to manage it, but the money those contractors come in will end up going out in remittances back to China, right? But at the end of the day, you will still have something tangible to show. But it doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be that way. You know, Nelson Mandela said one of the biggest problems we have in Africa is we have a leadership deficit. We don't have very good leaders, right? We have a leadership deficit. That's why we see the same thing happening over and over and over and over. So, you know, but I know Brother Pewee, he's planning a massive protest if he's not given a chance to speak. So I'm going to be quiet.
No, I'm not protesting. Lofa saying that.
People say the Chinese way. People are supporting the fact that Burger in China is trade was successful. So you come from a different perspective.
Not necessarily, but again,
that's good.
Professor, I'm not. It's Lofa that is trying to encourage me to protest, and I say, no, I'm not. I'm leaving.
I'm not going to protest. Yeah, okay.
But Lofa brother trying to push me to protest. I say, no, I'm not going to go out and you know that Togar and let the protest issue. You hear it from your twin. Oh.
So China Union, how many they invest money in Liberia? How many jobs they are creating?
China Union when the initial process came up to close to $1 billion investment the China Union carry out in the country, and I thought at the time the investment being, but again there been some.
See nothing to do with the money. Go see the money where the money go.
There been some rocky no, there was some progress because part of the social responsibility of the company at the time when it came in, Madam Salif insisted that it was part of the plan that the Kakata bomb mine road should be done, and they did that road. There was some process in bomb mine having the surface streets of bomb mine they paved also. China, they did that through SICO because we have 2 major Chinese construction companies in the country, Chico and SICO. Right, so that was the process there. But Togar, quickly to your point about who the Chinese president met. You know, in diplomacy is about reciprocity and the issue about record building issue in diplomacy. Now, if you go back to the process about what the Chinese leader will focus on certain country, is on the basis of the cordiality and the rapprochement between the 2 countries. Now, Liberia, we were to China before. And we betrayed the relationship. So they will consider you on the Netherlands. That diplomacy, the Chinese don't play with that, right? We had this one China policy before, and we divorced that the one China policy and went back to Taiwan, right? The only reason why we went to Taiwan, and China don't take that lightly, right? The reason that we came back
we metamorphosed quickly, and there were some changes, and we came back to the relationship, and we left from Taiwan and we came back to the one China policy. Samuel Doe, Charles Taylor did that. Charles Taylor went to the Taiwan, but immediately when the war was really raging in 2003, he felt that China would have saved him when there was a lot of threat coming from the USA when Bush told him to leave and leave now. So he capitulated and went back to China, where he severed the relationship. But again, China would not take those kind of thing lightly, because if you have a relationship with them, you do this, you fumble, and it's part of the reason why. So they got consistent country to look at, and that's part of the reason why you see they're doing a lot of investment in places like Ethiopia, in the Zambia, in Rwanda and other countries. If you tie the line there about, so you have to take that into consideration. And that's one of the reasons why every Liberian president will always not say we are committed to the one China policy, because we try to rekindle the relationship that, because the Chinese did a lot of work for us. The Samuel Kayando's food complex, right? It's the Chinese. It's because of our relationship, bilateral relationship, the Chinese that did the Samuel Kayando's food complex, the rest of that. Now, I'm not really, as Tony was saying just now, I'm not really one person that believes that the trip is 100% successful. And I agree with what the professor was saying in terms of those. Now, what commitment are we making to the Chinese in terms of those major issues? Are we committing that we're getting water gizi? What's the trend of giving water gizi to the Chinese? We have to come back, and I agree with him, the professor, 100% on this one, that we have to agree as a government, we have to be very open-minded and plan strategically to understand what we're going to do, because we cannot commit more than what they're going to give us. If that is done, then I mean, the future ahead of us will be very bleak and doomed for the generation to come. And this is, quite frankly, as leaders of our country, we all that got stick in the country, we should begin the process now, asking very high caution to those that are crafting the state policy on our behalf to tell us what is unfolding. Now, there was certain area that I just wanted to intended to put some clarification into it on this forecast process in terms of the maritime transport agreement. I think it was highlighted here on the fee here, and that's a major agreement basically on behalf of the country. We signed that agreement first in the beginning of 2015 when Bianca said he was there. The Chinese, those at the Chinese don't benefit from that agreement heavily. We benefit very well. It increased our maritime revenue by almost 35 to 40%, because all of the vessels that are carrying our flag, the Liberian flag, whenever they hit into China, because a lot of vessels that carry the Liberian flag do business in China. That's one of the major things, do business in China. So whenever they are in China, that favor agreement will come for us, and then that's going to be a plus. Instead of those vessels pay hundreds of thousands of dollars that will be against our revenue process, it will not come in our favor. So that's one of the very strategic process. That agreement should have been signed some years back, I think, by the former commissioner. But for some reason, again, the Chinese are very, very much tough in terms of diplomacy. And this issue about their human rights. I agree with Professor Kennedy that they don't have a good human rights record. That is clear. But also, I want to remind the professor that the Great United States of America is one of the biggest partners in business with the Chinese. That is clear. You know this. China is America's biggest business partner. They don't have a good human rights record. That is clear, right? So I don't want to think that I will agree with the professor that we shouldn't do business with them. We're struggling also. Saudi Arabia also don't have a very good human rights record. But again, the U.S. president will always want to see the crown prince or the rest of those things. But I agree also with some of the issues he said. But I beg to differ a little bit in terms of if we can leverage our relationship with the Chinese that will impact us positively, it's going to be a good job to do. Now, quickly before I can conclude here, the Chinese, in the recent history of our country, have been strategic. Togar, you have been entered before the ministerial complex. See the theater we have there. That ministerial complex, the Chinese spend millions of dollars to do that ministerial complex. And that's one of the main reasons to engage the Chinese is to engage them through the bilateral means to come and do projects in our country. And that's why Madam Sadiq, I thought she was very strategic and crafted in trying to maneuver her presidency in those ways. That's why today you see those things. Look at the MBTC. So, I want to believe you travel the Japanese freeway. In MBTC, there's a project, there's an investment of $10 million to build state-of-the-art TVEC center at the MBTC. That was done through a bilateral made by the Chinese, $10 million. The ministerial complex, I will go and need them. There are other major interventions. Look at the Tapeta. Is it the Tapeta Memorial Hospital? The 100-bedroom state-of-the-art hospital in Nimba County. It was built by the Chinese. So we can leverage our diplomatic tie with the Chinese. It's persisted for some time. We've maintained the one China policy from 2003 to now. And I think we are on course to maintain that. The fact that the president and the Chinese leader, Xi Jinping, met, there was some deep bilateral discussion. I will encourage the government to maintain safe relationship with the Chinese. The Chinese, they believe and they declare on this issue. The Chinese foreign policy instrument is like us. And our major foreign policy pillar is this doctrine of non-interference. And that's what angered the Chinese when we voted against them on the issue of the human rights record. The Chinese themselves believe clearly the non-interference doctrine, the element of non-interference is what they believe in. They don't interfere in your domestic affairs. They believe no other country should interfere in their domestic affairs. They got 1.2 billion people. They believe they will manage their people. People should not talk about how they treat the how they call it Muslim Chinese, how they call it, what's the name of them? That's where the problem came from, right? So about those, they kind of allow the human rights record. So they believe they will come to your country. They believe in dialogue diplomacy. The Chinese believe in clear dialogue diplomacy. If we leverage this process of dialogue diplomacy on the line about what the Chinese are going to do, we very much want to embrace those tendencies. But the 3-point-something billion process about the company that's supposed to come and invest in the country, we need more caution. We need to ask more questions there. We need answers, appropriate answer to the people of Liberia so we can move through. But there are good benefits on this trip, I believe, for now, from the maritime program, from the port, from the national port side of it. Now, the issue about those other commitments that's coming in terms of the bilateral discussion that were held between the two leaders, we will have to now begin the process of dissecting those things. And see, I hope it's not going to be a tantalizing type of situation that will be very difficult for us to analyze, but eventually we're going to see some results coming out. But I'm still going to ask some questions. But I'm very positive. I wouldn't be a counterproductive thinker for now, but be positive about what is coming up, particularly from the maritime program that will project our revenue from that end, and we can move on a lot of things in other countries. Now, the overhead bridge quickly, the $52 million I learned, did not committed also to start the overhead bridge in the next couple of months or so. So they're going to do some things to make sure that $52 million will be pumped in and all the bilateral means will come out. But it's a $60 billion investment the Chinese are going to do for this 2024 forecast. I think that is a resigning process that we can tap into.
But yeah, my concern, Professor and others, most of the projects that the Chinese honor token Liberia that was alluded to by Pewee was done on bilateral agreements. But now, this trip, the president and President Boyka and President and she had a one-on-one bilateral meeting. I mean, just and nothing really. All he said was China will help Liberia development. That's all. But the issue that making people concerned is that there was no bilateral agreement signed in China on this trip.
No, before the president come in, the foreign minister, her team, and the rest of the technical teams, they are still on it. Now, on the fringes of the discussion, there's going to be those technical issues going to be now arranged. Now, the commitment of the $52 million, they say the president, I got a very deep information from the president meeting of the Chinese president. The Chinese president committed that project will move on very soon.
Yeah,
but project and other project will come. But yeah, the technical details should be discussed between now and maybe the end of this week.
But Pewee, others, look, when you talk about when you attend these meetings, when they sign a bilateral agreement, that means it's binding. The bilateral means the two countries coming to say, look, we are going to do this. But I've not seen no bilateral agreement signed on this trade. I'm not concerned. Yeah, they've been talk about it. They all talk. But until we say the bilateral agreement where they say the ministers of finance of Liberia, the minister of defense or public works, they are signing with the Chinese counterpart. That's a bilateral agreement. But that one is genuine. That one is substantive. We don't say yes. We show that it's coming. So most of the projects you talk about Chinese investors took on Liberia were bilateral agreements. That's why you see it came into fruition. But what we are saying is that one big people are a little bit concerned is that there's no bilateral agreement signed on this trip. And people once it's not bilateral, it's multilateral. I mean, then you don't people are confusing with the words there. So you'll help us. Professor, help us, because there's no bilateral agreement have been signed on this trip. That people are concerned about.
Bilateral agreement is a contract. And a
Yes.
contract can be taken to court, and one party can be held for breach of contract and have to pay the other party. Memorandum of understanding, memorandum of commitment, there are not contracts. There are only agreements put in place in terms of what you promise to do when you sign a contract. So if you have a memorandum of understanding or commitment that leads to a bilateral agreement, then you have something tangible in hand.
Yes.
But
Yes.
that's not what's happening over here. That's not what's happening over here. And it would have been, it's even better if Liberians were the ones who, if we have good governance. I know we don't have it, so I'm not even going to go there. And that goes to what Grace was saying earlier. Why Togar, Grace was saying, we need these people to come in and do this stuff. We need to fix our system because we've seen this. People coming in to do this work, that means we're not creating jobs for our people. Because the Chinese will send Chinese people to come and do some of the work. And that's a problem right there. You know, we have to fix the system whereby Liberians are doing the work. The money stays in Liberia. It follows an economic principle laid out by John Maynard Keynes called the Keynesian model. What that does is, if I make money right here in Liberia, I will spend that money right here in Liberia. I'll go to the market, I will buy something. The market woman will then take that money, she'll go to the farm and spend that money. And then it will multiply. There's a multiplier effect because the money is staying right here. But if they're sending Chinese people over there, it goes back to China in remittances. That's why you look around Liberia, we have a very high unemployment rate. That's why we don't seem to be creating jobs, because we follow this model that has never worked, and we keep doing it again. That's why the GDP per capita in Liberia from 1980 all the way up to 2023 have only increased by about $400. That's a joke. Look at places like Singapore. We were doing so much better than Singapore. Singapore has passed us. Singapore has passed the US. GDP per capita in Singapore is almost 80,000 per person, way over the 50 to 60,000 it is in the US. Why have they done it? Because they had very good leadership. Lee Kuan Yew came in. He laid out the groundwork. He started investing in education. He started investing in healthcare. Then you see what's happening now. Americans, Europeans, they all running to Singapore to understand how Singapore did it. We follow the same terrible, terrible model. We borrow from the IMF. They put us into an ECF program that says you can only borrow future money using concession. Concession ties our hand to go to people like China, to go to other places to borrow on concessionary terms. Those people come in, they take our resources. Nothing is left in terms of tangible development. It's a vicious cycle. And who benefits? The politicians. Because when the concessions come in, even when ExxonMobil, remember one time the big thing in Liberia was to sell oil blocks? Everybody was selling oil blocks. What happened to that? Did it materialize into any job creation? Did it materialize into any type of drilling? No, because we didn't do the proper legwork. Other countries have given up concession agreements, or they have used money to develop oil in the country, right? But we seem to follow the same terrible thing, right? And it has to do with leadership. It has to do with leadership, you know. But I tell you, man, at some point, things, you can't have this number of unemployed young people in our country. And I don't know if I mentioned it here or mentioned it somewhere else, but I think I remember one time saying in 2013, when Madam Sirleaf was traveling, she made a statement in Europe that the number of young people that is unemployed in Liberia is a threat to Liberia's national security. It happens all over Africa. That's why even when the Kenya president was sitting over here being honored by Joe Biden, the young people that in Kenya started protesting, wanted to tear up that place. It wasn't just because of the silly law that he was trying to pass. It was because of the high unemployment rate. Look around Liberia. How many young people you see running behind somebody fully politician and because they're not getting small money? The unemployment rate is so high. They need to survive. They got to eat. So if somebody promised you, oh, I will give you $10 or so, go stand over there with a placard and protest for me, they will do it. I saw the silliest thing. Somebody saying, oh, Joseph Boyka should give somebody a job to serve the country, and we're holding a placard for Joseph Boyka to give the person a job. because the unemployment rate is so high. They're doing what they have to do to survive, not because they like this person. They're just doing it because you have to feed your family. So we can't keep following the same model of concession agreement. We don't know the value of the concession. So Pewee, to your point real quick, before I close on this. Sure, we're going to do a concession for $100 million, but tell us what we're giving up for that concession.
That's my question there.
That's what we want to see. What we giving up. Don't tell me anything else about you getting $100 million and Chinese going to come here and they're going to build a Jacob's ladder all the way to heaven. Show me what I'm giving up in return.
Yeah, Professor Kennedy, I understand when you were saying that, the Chinese will come and they will bring their own people. But what we're asking now is that the Chinese bring the equipments and they bring the logistics and they use the workers there on the ground. Because it's $3 billion, if the people learning, those vampires and those corrupt government officials, we call them vampires. And they give it to those vampires then. They will suck that. In fact, we have a video on closing argument chat. When you saw it, how they told him to go face the road and they gave him the money to face the road. All the politicians and just started coming, taking the money until the money was finished. I wonder you saw it on closing argument chat. Those vampires then will finish that money. If China is serious, if they really want to help Liberia and also get, tangibles or also get, pay in helping Liberia, they will bring the logistics, they will bring the equipment, they will use the workers on the ground, they will use our people to do the job. Even if they bring people to train them, they will be training them for the betterment of the country. They will use the people and they will pay them. Mm-hmm.
Quick question. Is that sustainable? Is that how the country will continue to develop by depending on China to keep doing this every time? Is that sustainable?
No, I'm not saying that they should keep doing it all the time, but for the $3 billion.
At what point does it end?
After they have built certain amount of.
You will always need something built. What about the healthcare?
But maybe if they set the groundwork, Liberians, we're quick to want to do things when we see things happening. So maybe if they set the groundwork, they will give us something to go off of instead of they just sitting there always.
But they did it with the SKD. Wasn't that the groundwork? They did it with SKD? Or they did it with
them walking into the country, my brother.
But they did it with the ministerial complex. Why do they have to keep doing it again?
After the ministerial complex, after they build everything, who they voted into power?
So that's not the problem. The problem is not China. The solution is not China coming to do it because we will revert to going back the same old way. We need to find a long-term solution that we're not depending on the United States, we're not depending on China, we're not depending on the Saudis. We need to find a long-term solution because we can't keep going to China. They did the ministerial complex, they did some roads.
Professor, you see, one minute, Togar, you see how these people are. The people in leadership will not be able to handle this. These people are empires that they will destroy Liberia to the core. The people tell you that they're giving $45,000 to the people in the House and the Senate to buy a car. Go look at the roads in Liberia. Before you move, you leave from Eton, from Broad Street, or go to Looking Down anymore, and you pregnant, your belly will move, and you get strong back because the naked way the car can be going up and down. So what roads that these people have that they want for the $5,000 car? In a poor country where somebody think they want to get to eat. So we cannot sit here and say that there is no way in hellfire that those people will get at $3 billion and any system will be set for them to carry on the right way. We have to start for somebody leading us.
My last point for
Togar. Go back to work, or then we'll be happy that they call you to work. Because
yeah, when Professor coming, I won't come in.
Yeah, so real quick. Robert Salif bankrupted NOCAL. Nothing happened because of it. If nothing happens when someone comes in and bankrupt a company like NOCAL out of millions, it shows that we're not ready for development.
Professor, you still there?
There is noise in somebody's background.
But
yes, so
let
me come in quickly. For me, I tend to agree with the fact that I think these people basically have to come and do some of these development work themselves. And I think somebody was talking about the Japanese highway also. I think that, and you know what that road has done since the Japanese did the road? Because I live even on this belt. There were years upon years that people could not live on this side of the country at all. It was terrible. People would normally sit in town to sometimes 8, 9 before they decide to drive along the Japanese highway. I did not move here for over 7 years because of how terrible living on this side was. But because of the road here, economic situations are improving on this side of the road. You can see new supermarkets open up on the road now. When you're using the Somalia Drive route, you see a lot of economic activities taking place on this route. I think that's what development does. All right. In fact, you will notice that Central Monrovia, where in the past everybody wanted to be clustered around Central Monrovia, and Central Monrovia was becoming so expensive to live, people are now moving to the houses now on the outskirts because of better road. I can get in town at most between 15 to 20 minutes. Then in the past, I would get in town after 3-4 hours. Times have completely changed with some of these developments. So these people need to really come. I have an experience, I heard that over and over from Buchanan, where I was born and raised, that we had a particular role in Buchanan there. I think Tomalin said from outside. They said when Lamco were operating, they always told the people they wanted to fix the road. But then our government always said, no, get all the money, we will fix the road. And for generations, that particular portion of Buchanan was not fixed. Where we got Total gas station now, all the way some part of Tubman Street. Never fixed. Because people always wanted the money. They would take the money and eat the money and never do the route. Until when Ellen came to power and the same Chinese faced the road from Buchanan straight before that road was ever fixed. Many times putting the money in our people's hand can go to waste. They do nothing with it. So it's good that these people can, even if it will just find a kid there to help them to do some of this work for us, I think it's far better. My only issue is it must be able to transform into things that make money for us. Take for example, you see like the Samuel Kanyando Sports Stadium. I mean, it was sitting practically in ruin, it was fixed, but one of the good things that's done is that the Ministry of Youth and Sports moved into that building. So the Ministry of Youth and Sports is now using it as an office. Before, the Ministry of Youth and Sports were paying thousands of dollars to rent. Thousands of dollars to rent. The fact that the Ministry of Youth and Sports is using it, even if it will play football game once a whole year in number. But at least it's cut down on some expenditure that government should have done. Take for example, the ministerial complex. The other day, I was passing by the old education ministry. And I was sitting to myself, I said, wow, you imagine how much money government spent on education ministry. Today, education ministry is in the ministerial complex. Over 5 or 6 different ministry and agencies in our one cluster. Far better. Solve a lot of issues. Now, lastly, I don't know the 3 billion we keep talking about. I am being told it's a private company. It's not directly Chinese government. Like Tomalin was saying, bilateral agreement. No. I'm told it's a Chinese company. In fact, the guy who was talking in the video clip, I don't know what position he get, whether he's working for the Liberian embassy. I think many of you have watched that video where they say they were doing signing ceremony or something like that. I don't see any Chinese government official at that signing ceremony. Not at all.
Investment Commission chairman that blew.
And the National Investment guy, I know him like that, you know.
Yeah.
So only the Liberians are. I see the president sitting at the head of the table. The president made no comment absolutely in the meeting. Only our man from the NRC is speaking. People want to impress Bouaka nowadays. So who knows whether it's the national investment guy, or a Chinese friend to do something to arouse Bouaka's attention. Something like that to me. That's how I saw that whole gathering. Initially, I was thinking about DeLong. And I was thinking about DeLong because DeLong has got interest in Basel. So DeLong was also in China. So DeLong is trying to say to the Basel people, I'm bringing your company. That's how it ran to my mind. I did not see this thing real. And maybe I may be wrong, or maybe a couple of years from now, I may be right. Because the way I saw the structure, I just saw a bunch of Chinese guys sitting in one place and say they're bringing $3 billion investment to Liberia. And what they want to bring it in oil. We're not drilling oil. We don't know where we're taking oil from, how the investment will work. We know nothing. We know about people bringing $3 billion to start investing in oil in the country. Get the Basel people excited, amazed by this. Will it ever come? We don't know.
So
Liberians
this is where
need
we
to
are.
rise.
So we got to be
We-
sincere.
All right. Let me come in to ask Professor this question. Yeah, everybody talking, bring it in. It's good for the country, whether to do it this way and to do it that way. But the fact is, nobody's talking about what are they getting in return, like Professor said. Nobody want to know what China is using, what does China do to bring that ministerial complex in, what did it do to bring the hospital in Ganta-Lima County on. I don't believe China love Liberia so much that it will just come and take the taxpayer money and just build all over the country because they love Liberia. They want Liberia to support the one China policy and all of that. But Professor Kennedy, tell us what would happen, okay? Because we know in other countries where China has invested, those countries are victim of the China investment because they can't pay and China is going on taking all the places. What will happen for a country like Liberia? Liberia was to get this memorandum signed into law and it become investment Liberia can't pay. What will happen to our country? Let the Liberian point know, Professor.
You are essentially mortgaging your resources. That means your children, your grandchildren will really have nothing in terms of resources, because you will have situations where countries like China are coming in. In fact, let me say this. There is a rush right now to Africa for resources. There's a competition between the United States and China, a rush over to Africa for resources. There is something called the Libido Corridor right now, right? This was something that I believe Vice President Kamala Harris and a lot of American diplomats have been flocking over to places like Zambia and other parts of Africa. There's a rush to Africa for resources right now, the competition. But bear in mind, these countries like the United States, they are holding on to their resources. They're holding on to their resources. They don't want to deplete their resources. They're rushing to Africa for resource grab. If you are giving China these type of concessions and you don't know what you're giving them, you're essentially just mortgaging all your resources. And again, it's going to run out. Your resources, they don't last till infinity. Eventually, your resources can be depleted. It can run out. And what's going to happen then? You have nothing to give in terms of concession. You never develop your governance structure. You always thought it was easier to bring a foreign country in to do the development that your people should be doing. Why? Because we're too lazy to tell our leaders that they're incompetent. So we end up in a situation where we have others coming in to do the work. We never fix our governance structure. We never fix the rule of law, where it's easy for people to come in, rip off the country, leave, and nothing happened to them. Look at the woman who was one time running the RIA, Ellie Cochran. Did all that stuff in Liberia. She came to America, did the same thing. Didn't they grab her for COVID fraud? We have to fix our rule of law. We have to fix our governance structure. The belief that some foreign country like China can come in and rescue us from ourselves, it's nonsense. Because every time we say, oh, we need to do something, we need to fix bridges, what we're going to do? We're going to call the Chinese to come fix it. We need to go ahead and fix the sewer line or fix the telecommunications. What we're going to do? We need green energy. We're going to call the Chinese to come. No, you will never develop if you're following that model. Why? Because it's never worked. You're not going to be the first one to make it work. Where you're going to have a foreign country, especially China, that violate trade laws to take Africa as a dumping ground. If you want to do business with China, of course, it's welcome. But make sure that you understand exactly what you are giving in terms of concession. But if we don't fix our governance structure, and to Pee-wee's point earlier, sure, China is the U.S. #1 trading partner. China is ranked #2 in terms of GDP, right? In terms of global productivity. But China is not coming to the U.S. to build anything. The U.S. is trading with them. Even though the U.S. has a trade deficit, meaning China sends more stuff to the U.S. than we send to them, because the Chinese plays around with the currency. Totally different. Sure, we can talk about that. But the U.S. trade with them. We don't trade with China. We end up just taking in a lot of stuff from China whatever little stuff we have is going back in the form of concession. Look, we need to first fix the rule of law. We need to put pressure on the leaders to stop ripping the people off.
How, Professor Kennedy, how can we put pressure on those leaders? When people are complacent. The people need to beg us. That the people got to go to their office and beg them on a regular basis. So the people have gotten used to that. How in the world can that change? We have to be realistic. China is taking over 80% of Africa, and they're going to change Africa in our mind now, the way we're looking at it, into the next big thing, a continent. And Africa, people will be going back to Africa to stay alive. So I think that we should take the chance, because if we depending on us stepping down the politicians, the people, the defenders of the politicians, they got politicians and they got the people, they're giving them some money. So you call the politician, they come, you can't join down your trade. They want you to swallow them. You will get tonsil right away. So everybody get their own evil person they're protecting. So how is it our people now, and these people who protecting these people, most of them got the people in Africa, they're sending them money, they're telling the people, oh, vote they want, don't vote they want. Make sure you vote the person, the other person can't be president. And they're seeing the quality in that person, or that person could come and do something different. But the idea that they're in these politicians' pockets, they are not allowing it to happen. Some countries need to take what this country as the only way we'll see a difference in our country. I have no trust in vampires that work in government. Majority of them are vampires. I have no trust in them. At this point in time, China need to come and use our workforce, bring like logistics and equipment, train our people, and something need to be built. At least we can go to Liberia, Raka on a smooth road. Our infantry on the weekend, we drove the road just smooth, no bouncing, no nothing. And one thing I noticed before I something, when we went on the beach, there was no Chinese restaurant on the entire beach. So what things? But a lot of these people choose the Chinese all of their place, because when they take over, they're putting the restaurant there, the other restaurants, they won't have a chance. So, I just wanted to put that in there. But seriously, I don't have no hope in Liberia for the politicians to change anything around. I would say, I know that people will say, I will tell you as it is. Except somebody go and do a coup in our country and take all the vampires there off and bring new set of people in, nothing will change in our country.
They call them the bloodsucker vampire. But let's move on to another interesting topic. The bloodsucker vampire. Let's move on to another interesting topic, though. The criminal court C today put a rate of arrest of some government officials, former finance minister, former controller, the financial Stanley Ford, former financial intelligence director, others. They put an arrest warrant for them to be arrested, to turn themselves in, and all of that, to say it was $6 million. And they talk about money laundering. They talk about different crimes that were committed. I want to hear your input on that, Professor, and then we can just move around the table. So.
I would say this. In the immortal words of one Dr. Henry Peabody, all of that is flat. Like my man Dr. Peabody was saying, all of that is flat right there. If you think that they're going to prosecute and jail any of these people, then it's not going to happen, because we haven't developed or believed in the rule of law. If we don't have a strong judicial system, so all of those writs and all of those things that they're doing, they're all just dancing around and trying to pretend that they're serious, right? Because like what Christian Roberts or someone said in the chat, we're still taking Liberia to be a serious place, because if you can have someone tamper with a nation's budget,
yes,
that tells you it is not a serious, they're not ready for prime time.
Exactly.
They're just not ready for prime time. I'm telling you right now. Yeah. All of that thing is all just show, it's like you tell the kids, go to school, today is show and tell day. So they come in, it's all just flat, right? That's it. I hope I'm saying that properly.
Complete, you got it right. You complete flat. Let's go to Grace, then we'll come to Togar, we'll move to Sylvester and Tomalin. Let's do that. Great. I know Grace coming on with another.
But you'll be surprised. I ain't coming on with look. I have zero trust in those people when it comes to arresting and putting anybody in jail for corruption. Samuel Pewee remain a fugitive. He been a fugitive for a minute. If they wanted to get Samuel Pewee between me and you, they would have gotten Samuel Pewee. Samuel Pewee right in Ivory Coast. I'm sure he's there because people saying that he got houses there. So if they wanted to get him, then they would have gotten him long time. Secondly, Samuel Pewee know he did nothing. Why is he running? Say he felt that he was one of the best knowledgeable finance minister and he can go and defend himself and get his lawyer. Why is he running? When you run, it means that you did the act. So that's why you are running. So for me, I don't, this Joseph Parker government, that's the reason why I never told my family member in Liberia to vote this government in. I even held my niece to the core one when I said, tell me the truth when you went up, the youth vote Joseph Parker. She said, they're going to go out. Yeah, because I wanted to know. Why would you put your life in jeopardy like that? So I have no, Professor Kennedy, I have no trust in these people. They are liars. They're true with my mind. So say, you liar, the truth not in you. There is no truth in them. They can lie from A to Bofra. That's how they lie. If they wanted to do anything, they would have done it. How in the hell somebody will go finger the document or tamper with the document and you're telling us, say, you don't know who did it? Everybody loves to pay attention, y'all. This is ridiculous. And our people just sit there and they do nothing about it. They just sit there and do nothing and just relax. So that's where we are. I don't trust this whole thing. I don't think it's going to do anything. I don't think anything is going to come out of this thing. I feel that just what Professor Kennedy, they're just doing it for show and tell. And they just want to double it that, oh, they're doing something. If they really wanted to do something about it, they would have done it already.
Togar.
Yes, I would think that I think this issue is more like about Samuel Pewee because all these people were arrested recently. The fireborn, you put all of them also, and you're now calling for their rearrest. Now, we don't know where they even are. Whether they've left the country already. When you put them outside, did you stop them from using our borders? Was there any documentation from the coast on them and all of that? I think all these people are out. And you sneak these kind of documents to the media. It's all already when you have not even made the arrest and you think people will be waiting for you to keep subjecting them to this sort of treatment. They will not accept it. And I think by now, people like two of them will be working on asylum documents. You think Pewee will sit down in Arico, every day protest, every day arrest warrant, this, that. He will sit down. If he's grounded in Arico, he will sit there and allow that. Pewee is just going to put all the newspapers in the country together and show it to the Ivorian government and say it's risky for him to come home. It's finished. I don't think Pewee is going to come back here anytime soon. You know. So the thing about it is, like people have been saying, they have to be very serious about this. If you want to be serious about the legal process, they must start. There are a lot of other things too that the government is mistaken on. All right, that's happening right under their own wings, and they're not even touching that. They're running after people that I think they will not even get anytime soon. And many of these people might only come back here another election year. You had the same situation with Amarcone. Amarcone stayed out of the country for almost 5 years. He only came back to the country close to election time because he always felt that something was hanging over him. It's my understanding that Pewee wants to contest even in Maryland. So maybe Pewee will start coming back to Liberia where around 2028, start taking the papa into from
We're not lying in Maryland. He from Maryland. Come me denounce that. So he from Maryland.
Of course.
Chris, what
we're
if
not lying in Maryland?
Chris,
how you not?
we got get Sylvester channel coming.
They may be, you know, and on the just before I close on the whole issue of this alteration of the budget thing, it's very serious and very concerning too. You know, I mean, and the way people are going about it, they almost like in our society, the small man, we put all the troubles on the small man head. Then we make sure we free all the BP people. This is what is happening. I mean, for me to hear about a serious branch of government and the legislature saying that one ordinary deputy speaker requested, the budget, I think from the office of the president. So it means Speaker knows nothing about it. Deputy Speaker knows nothing about it. Chairman on Ways, Means and Finance knows nothing about it. This is a joke. You go to the Senate, you lead the president pro tem, chairman on Ways, Means and Finance, all the other people there, you say, I think that the secretary or the Senate or the deputy secretary of the Senate. The people can tell you exactly who sent them. They say, oh, we know, but somebody told us, we're going to go take the document from them. It's all a play stuff. And it simply says to us, nothing will happen. A few days later, after all of this chicanery, people are now signed for the 45,000 to go buy the brand new cars for the legislature. So you know probably this is where all the infusion came from. And right after, everybody who played into it from both legislature and executive, everybody know what happened with the alteration. Boom. Legislature getting the 45K to go get their car. It looks like a whole game to me that is being played, and only the people suffer. Sylvester, thank you.
Come in.
Thank you. I mean, sometimes we all have to voice up things to ensure that the country is on course, but there's still a lot of flaws in the country. And I'm one person that will admit this on a serious note. But again, there's a delicate balance, and I believe in the striking of delicate balance in when situations are moving in terms of public policy. There's always going to be now the issue of politics is a give and take game. It's a serious give and take game. In some cases, everywhere in the world, even the world's most powerful society. And that's part of the reason why here in the democracy we have here, sometimes the Republican will want certain thing, and they will say, before we can support you, the Democrat, to do this in the national interest, you have to do this for us. So the Democrat will say, we've got to track this process. That's the process in politics. Togar, you understand the rest of it. You are a very proactive Liberian journalist. You understand the way our political process unfolds in the country. Those are guys that the constitution of the country given the powers to look into, particularly Article 34, the whole thing about budget and lawmaking. The entire lawmaking process is with them. And then when it comes to doing the issue of budget and the rest of that, you believe they won't strike a deal to what I agree. And that's one of the major things I love about reading the book of Prince. Machiavelli is very clear in the book of Prince. He said, don't temper the prince's power. Yes. He said, but what the prince need to do is the prince need to take good care of his people. Now, this situation of the end will justify, it's not all that line. So the basic thing Machiavelli is saying in the book of Prince is that the government should take care of the people very well. And the president, particularly the prince, is the leader there. If you take good care of your people, you can go enjoy yourself. But when the people are not well taken care of, people are living in abject poverty and destitution. I mean, there's this malicious process about, and I want to come to the conclusion that you guys are all rogue and the rest of that. And I agree with that kind of a debate. On the flip side of it, I'm also of the belief that there's a time that the leaders of our country will have to be given, and that's why I agree with Mr. Taylor before, right? That the people will have to take care of the leader. And in the book of Prince, he said it also. So those of us that are in politics or discussing politics, we have to intentionally come to the realization that this is the process that we have to come to and grapple with those kind of a reality that leaders or government, those in government, Togar, even if you are to come in government today, you go in the very critical Togar I'm listening to today. If you are to come into government today and go in and represent a district number 1 or 2 in Grand Bassa County, you will stay move in our house, you will need vehicle, the people of that bureau will have to purchase a vehicle. And one of the major processes the Amara just spoke of, and to clarify this quickly before I slip out, let me pivot a little bit. Amara was never wanted in the country. There have been no report indicting Amara. Amara have never been an escapee. He never escaped any situation he never been a fugitive. He never escaped anything whatsoever. Amara have always been open in having conversation during his reign at the time. I'm not defending him, but there was no documentation indicting Amara, no documentation insinuating that he is indictable. Just the insinuation. There's nothing whatsoever. So I thought to make this clarification. But when he was Minister of Finance, there was a process at the time he discussed with Madame Solive, and they brought into the process that no government official in our country should ride vehicle more than $45,000. Because at the time, there were government officials that were buying vehicle around 60,000, 75,000 moving forward. Amara positioned there at the time, he and his team, at the time, they insisted that we need to bring this to bear. There was a battle at the legislature. There should be no government official riding a vehicle, because the point was that if we went for a used vehicle, there's a tendency that people will come back the next year. So they give it a period. They discuss it, give it a period, and say it shouldn't be more than 45,000. Most of the Nissan Patrol Jeep that will go maybe around 5, 6, 7, 8 to 10 years. But the period was that if you use the vehicle for 3 years, there's the likelihood there's a room that fits the law, there's a room that you can purchase the vehicle. So that's the kind of a process that was unfolding at the time in terms of the vehicle issue. So the legislature, one thing I believe in about the question that Peabody asked, the intent of what the code is doing, and that's one of the things I'm saying, if there's no political maneuvering here, or there's nothing motivated, if this issue that you believe you have case against the former finance minister, prove the case. But for me, I don't want people to maneuver here. This tendency of this wish hunting, I don't believe in that. And I will always not subscribe to it. But if the court decision is based on half-based evidence, unimpeachable evidence, and unimpeachable evidence, and you got those things that you want to arrest Sylvester Pewee on the basis of those, that his stewardship in certain area was not correct, he didn't come and answer Sylvester Pewee.
Information, Mr. Pewee. The information I'd like to provide you is that yes, there was a probe into Amara Connell's asset by the asset recovery team under George Weah. It was announced. It was announced. He and 46 others. That's some of the reason Amara Connell stayed out of like.
Was he ever wanted? But Togar.
No, not whether he was wanted or not. But there was.
Let me answer this question.
There was a team. 1 minute, please. 1 minute. No, but you said it never existed. It existed. There was a team. It's almost like the way you get asset team today. George Weah had his own asset team and Amara on the list. He was wanted. By the asset
recovery team came up with a wild list without doing investigation. So let me say
that. But they may not have been investigated, man. They may never came to the country.
Team, wait for the fail.
No, whether it failed or not, but he was on the list. And he never came to the country. That's what the reason he never came to the country. So don't say nobody called his name. He was on the list. And because of that, he stayed away from the country for over 5 years. He wouldn't care election yet.
The constitution of our country is very clear.
He was not a fugitive. He didn't have a warrant up there for him.
The constitution of our country is
clear. I agree with you. I agree with you.
The constitution of our country is clear at Togar. You leave and return at will. Right?
Now when something hanging up in the air on you.
Amara have not been indicted. Amara was never in. Now, listen, what they did, they wrote wild letters. They sent some of the letters to other folks, right? They sent some of those letters to other folks. When the folks responded, they didn't have an agenda. There was a kind of a process about if I were a dogmatic system plan that they introduced. That was the fail. Listen, if you go into a system with have major policy, if you are dogmatic in the kind of decision-making process, you're going to fail. We don't have to come and predict. It's not predictable materialism here. It's the intentionality. If the intentionality is mixed up and terrible, you're going to fail. And that's what some of us saw just at the time. It's not like we're defending, but why did you need that if you have anything?
No, but the people, in fact, hold on 1 minute.
You interrupted me too much.
1 minute. Yeah, 1 minute, please. Just a minute. Sylvester, the people put up a list. That list had even Perrin Parkinson, Milton and Riches, Echo Ben, Liberia. They had that list for 46 individuals. I'll put it in the chat room. So you can see Amara Connell was on that list.
I'm about to finish.
That was the first list that was put on. You know who was the head of that committee?
I agree.
Councillor Serena Sipos.
I agree. 1 minute, please. 1 minute. I agree. I have disciplined myself today to not interrupt nobody on this show. Right? And the reason why I discipline myself, we cadres, we can be self-disciplined sometimes. That's format. That's the whole I was politician, right? I discipline myself. I've been very quiet and focusing on my phone. But you try to interrupt me.
Okay.
But quickly, let me say this.
Set the record straight.
Yeah, on the other side, see, I just try to put a twist to it. But on the other side, quickly, my brother, those names came up as a kind of a struck. It's a morale, it was a bluff. It was a bluff, and you saw what was happening, right? If you start on the wrong premise, if you head into something, if the premise is wrong, trust me, what the conclusion going to be? Answer that question for me quickly. In a few seconds. It will definitely be wrong. My point here is when the entire asset recovery process, the way they started, the first and foremost thing they started, what they said they will recoup $5 billion. You know what they said?
Yes. Yes.
They will recoup $5 billion.
But when Serena was on the show, the few days you were on?
I missed that day. Unfortunately, no.
Then you have asked that kind of question.
And that's what I said, unfortunately, no, because I knew that was not feasible. It was not realistic. It was a blatant, intentional way to mislead the people of our country and the president of Liberia at the time. And we should not indulge into those kind of a tendency as government officials going to blatantly mislead the people because we want to capture certain attention or want to catapult ourselves to certain positions. No, it's wrong. And that's why we're saying that's one of the reasons that Liberia will always be the way it is. We already project things in terms of those kind of counterproductive mind. It was wrong. And where did they go? In less than 3 months, everything collapsed. Are you going to do the same thing the guys started also they failed? And for me, I always wish the country well. And trust me, I will never support, I will say this today, I will never support, I got my family, I live everything in Liberia. I will never support anyone that will pillage the resources of the country just for personal benefit, even for my own benefit. I will never support anybody for that kind of reason. I'm always going to be objective, but the only side of it is that I have gotten the opportunity to understand small things about governance. So I want to balance and strike the balance there. That's all I would do. Government, not easy thing. Now, everybody, he said it before. He said one of her major points quickly before I rest here, when she was hitting Chancellor, she didn't know how government was difficult. Government is, we that in the social science era, is a very difficult venture to be in. That's why today you see the Biden, American election, you see people hitting other people. It's a difficult thing. You're not in it, you think it's easy. All I heard that the people today, you made that do at the Congress minister. After 3 months, you confess to you it's a difficult venture to be in. Because the resources and arrested, man. Yeah, I got on the list for what? Why you put I
I'll put that list in the chat room, you see.
Yeah, why you putting what kind of money I got here from who?
For
always, but why you put I got on that list? What did I do to put him on that list? I got him a definitely for public affairs.
That list there, that list was not easy.
Man,
Councillor Arthur Johnson, 2 serial lawyer, Councillor Arthur Johnson.
2 serial bluff lawyers.
It's often said that the judiciary is the last hope of the common man. It's true though.
Mm-hmm.
But now I'm one of those who support. I'm one of those who support the argument that judges should be paid good. But again, even if you pay them, even if you pay them handsomely, will they still compromise the rule of the law, the interpretation of the law? Will they still compromise? Take for example, the Chief Justice of Liberia today, she makes I think $20,000 a month. Other benefits, okay, but there are a lot of stuff that's happening. Right now, we're trying to find out why she removed the justice in chambers or CNN Johnson. We're trying to find out why she removed her. She was the justice in chamber. She removed her and put Yami Gbese there. We want to find out why did CNN you remove Justice CNN Johnson, Clinton, I think. She was justice in chambers, but then she removed her. We're trying to find out.
She was just approved, right? She was just a kind of
she's on the bench, but when the Supreme Court when the full bench is not in session, you have a justice in chambers, and now CNN Johnson was the justice in chambers, but then They surprisingly the chief justice remover and put Yami Gbese as justice in chamber right now.
But
Well,
let me ask you a question too, Sorry, I'm not interrupting you. We have
Yeah.
to find out first if because already got term that it would sit as justice in chambers.
Yeah.
Now, are we not? Did she not end her term as justice in chamber? We have another justice in chamber coming.
Yeah.
So we should ask a question and find
I'm
out.
talking about justice in chambers. Then the new justice who just got on the bench.
Senate Justice Clinton.
But then surprisingly, it was too fast. The chief justice removal. That question is being asked because a lot of cases coming before her now. So
that's a fair question.
Yeah, so why she removed the lady that was just justice in chambers and put Yami Gbese there? But I found all of these things. Now, on the issue about the arrest warrant for Twe and others, like you said, Pewee, I always say this: anyone who betray the public trust, anyone who undermine the public trust, I believe they should have a day in court. If you violate the public trust, if you undermine the public trust, yes. You are if the audit is done. I support all the others. I support all of these things. But if it is done, have a day in court. But yeah, the problem though, if the justice system goes that if you indict me, you get arrested, I go to court, I should file a bond, appearance bond. But then what's happening is that the insurance company and those who's going to file a bond for the people that are in question. They are reports they are telling them say don't touch it, don't go there. And for instance, somebody will say, Peabody and Tomalin insurance company, you won't file a bond for people here. You better don't try it.
And that is wrong.
That's wrong. And that's why people, so it's like people feel that you just want to grab me. Then when I go to court, you say, your bond, you have the bond, the surety bond to file. So, and our people are
almost like the PRC putting you on trial.
Yeah, justice should not be interfered with. That's a problem.
Yeah. So if the person must be arrested or turned over, yeah. But if you will not give me my day in court, let justice let me file my bond, and so I can go home and come back to. So when I found guilty, your lawyers go. If they found guilty, yes, they are laws. You prosecute the person, then they go to jail.
Exactly.
But again, like Professor said, look, I get people already were talking about these people, this thing, that thing. Look, it takes the political will of the president to act on all of these and other cases, all these things. If the president is, if you enjoy the president's confidence, they can say Grace Guar is a role, she stole, that evidence here, forget it. If you enjoy the president's confidence, nothing gonna happen. Nothing gonna happen. Nothing gonna happen. Yes. So
I don't want to go down stealing.
And number two, I
don't want to be the people in that government.
Yeah, but so what happened is this now. You see, during the campaign, the people read a lot of stuff. Propaganda was used, and they won the election through that. That if the president is elected, he will carry on audit, and those who are found guilty will be sent to jail. They will restitute the people money. So right now they gotta fulfill these promises. But in the midst of doing it, we're hearing already that some people in the cookie jar. Okay. Now, for instance, like somebody said, you complain that somebody was making $50,000 a month in the past government. When we get there, we change it. And we'll get to that. When we take over, nobody made that kind of money. But then when they came to power, somebody said, and they said, but we made it there. That's why I would commend the head of the state enterprises, Arthur Masakwe. He just submitted a report to the president, I think, for benefit and salaries of all these corporations then, LPRC, water and sewer, all the places then, LTA, all the area then. He just submitted a report to the president now. So now we're waiting out so that the president will act on it. That certain people, the benefits they're getting right now, they won't get it again. They got to reduce it to meet well with the economic realities of the country. You know, the disparity is so wide. If you get some people making this amount of money, but the other man making the man that's cleaning the place making just $150, $200. Somebody pay that man for the whole year, and so remain. That's what's happening. So, and most of the reports we have in our possession now, like I just got a report today. I will share with the group on the Minister of Labor. My own friend, my own big brother, Kopo Kra. Yeah, it's in a cookie jar. There's a report I just came on him. I got a report today. The audit that report on him. Okay, but again, it will be. I don't know whether the president will even think about removing it because it's a government of coalition. That
No, so he's involved in mafia, and they should remove him.
But again, he comes from the Prince Johnson party. So and now, I try calling people. I did today. I said, "Papi, I listen to yourself." But they say you mad. I know what I know. I hope I'll get him tomorrow. Find out what he mad for. So people get him. So look, people just talking. We just talk. Because at the end of the day, until I can see somebody go through the proper court, the person, the law, they argue, and the evidence are brought before the court. They are found guilty, and the judge say, "I'm hereby sentencing Pewee to 36 months in prison, and he must pay 500,000. They put money back, or else we'll confiscate his property." When I start seeing these things, I know we're serious, because on the end of the day, if you undermine the public trust, so for the Liberian people, they should give you time. Like in Sierra Leone, the board did it. The first turn of Amara Bio, the board who made the special chairman on these asset recovery. He said, "No, I'm not putting in jail, but I'm telling you now, you can't make payment plan." Say, and Pewee, we found out that the evidence came out that you were found guilty of this amount of money. Okay, you owe the country this amount of money, right? You owe the country this amount of money. So we'll give payment plan. If you don't pay this money in a certain time, we'll take a property from you. We'll take this from you, and people are complying. Every time the money are getting the government revenue. So you're not going to put people in jail. But if you know that, it is clear that that's why asset declaration is very important. Because if I came to office with maybe $2,000 in my account with one house, but then over the time I got 3 houses, apartment complexes, and everything, I got about 5 cars that cost or $200,000. When they investigate me and I'm found guilty, he made it clear. Tomalin George will identify a property. All your people will see you here. If you don't pay the government Liberian money in certain time, we'll take a property from you. You sign that document. When the time comes, if I don't pay the money, they take my first car. The guy again, they take my other house. And when they take anything, then they auction it. They put the money back in the government revenue. People get serious. But my people, I don't know where we go with this thing. That's why I see those who supported the government, the rescue agenda, most of them frustrated now. They go on the platform, they go on places, they're crying, but they just are for nothing. You have no ability, no influence to influence Boga to take any action. None of you will have that influence. Maybe during the election, you probably needed some resources, so your help. You need a platform, but to say they listen to you, that's all like joke. You probably won't act on none of your emotions, so you're wasting your time. That political will, until it's there, we have this problem coming up for the rest of our lives. So, like I said, great, like you said, leadership. For me, I always say leadership. Until we get our right person as president, who will let me end on this. For instance, right? Look at the national budget. The budget went before the executive. It comes from the executive, right? When the legislature, but because they have been doing this thing over and over, tampering the budget, putting things in the budget. As soon as the budget passed, they go and get it from there. But then when this time around, when it came back to the executive, somebody said, "Oh no, somebody altered this budget." They said, "Oh no," then the Senate committee. Senate committee, guess what happened? They put it on one deputy clerk. And you and I know that deputy clerk, he would not be brave to touch that budget, but they say he didn't want to touch the budget, he didn't want to play with it or something of that nature. So now they stay on it. The pro tem, she set up a committee headed by one of the guys who is known for playing with budget. They set up the guy Webb best friend Webb, the senator from Kidman of Vabla. She the one heading that committee. Okay. And you know you won't get nothing much for all of that committee when that report comes back. So it's just a joke. Because that's why you see whenever Musa Bealded say you gotta audit the legislature, people they say they do systemic audit. They cannot because they're afraid to do comprehensive audit because they try it. Many of those in power today. So our friend that are in power today to God, they will be caught in the cookie jar. That's why you see today they when they say that to when Musa say that do audit, they pushing aside. Because I can dare them, let them try it. Go and do that audit of the 5th legislature, 54th, 53rd. Who do audit and that body.
That was the 52nd. All the way.
It will be flat because they don't catch us in the cookie jar. That's the problem they're facing.
But there are people that quickly. There's a major development. I was just talking on the phone with somebody from Cork City about people escaping from the prison. I thought you introduced that.
Yeah, I understand 47 inmates escaped. Apparently, they did not have. I don't think they had any. If you got prison guard and 47 people can escape, that means is the security were either sleeping or they abandoned the duty.
But the U.S. Embassy circular they just released this afternoon in Monrovia also said that they overpowered the prison guard.
They overpowered the security, and they are now.
And they said the rest are running now. So I mean, it's dangerous. And some of the
people go somewhere and change. How will you catch them?
Yeah, murderers and robbers and rapists, right?
If they go somewhere now, change their clothes and get right back, you can identify them. The people will be sitting out right in the bar drinking with some of the people that are talking about them, and they even know who they'll be. Because they don't have a photo of them to even put out.
Yeah, we security system to identify those people.
Very weak.
Yeah, we security system to be fine.
Very weak.
Yeah,
so
it's a worrying development on a serious note.
Well, look, you don't know how many people escape every day. Sylvester, it's just that they want left in numbers, but you don't know how many people they want left in a high number. That's why it brought attention. But you don't know how many people escape from the jail.
It didn't mean that.
What made you think again be something that because the people are so clustered in the jail, no money to feed the people. So the people that go to the prison. One of the things you start doing to investing in prison, building some new prisons so that people will go there. Honestly, back in the day they had a place called Bella Yala. Most people don't know about Bella Yala.
Yeah, Eddie dismissed it.
Yeah, that place there. But Ellie one of them.
Yeah, Eddie went there. She felt that was a violation of the people rights.
Even the guy with the National Public Health guy, all them went there. Larry, all them went to that place before. Yeah, Bella Yala. They were far from the city, way in the bush. Where even you escape, you have because you can't see the Kota Road soon. You go in the bush before you see the Kota Road. So it took them far away. So I mean, that's the situation, man. It's sad though. It's sad.
Well, guys, as we come up to conclude, let's talk about our major fundraiser that's coming up on the 20th. We want you guys all our.
I don't have a flyer now. What's put on today?
Grace, what's the flyer? Grace got the flyer.
Yeah, you'll get a flyer. You'll get it before the weekend.
Okay.
Well, give me a chance to talk people. You just jump on.
Go ahead, Chris. Sorry. Go ahead, Chris. Okay.
So before I go ahead, I just wanted to say that I heard today that Fidel Roberts, was his last name Roberts?
Fidel City.
Fidel City. He passed away. May his soul rest in peace. I also send my condolences to his wife and his daughter. I met Fidel. I have a picture with him. And when I went to Liberia in 2018, I went to the Costa show, and Fidel, when I went to Liberia, he struck me as a very decent Liberian man. I wanted to talk about him a little bit because most of the time when you're dealing with Liberians, especially the ones here in the States, Liberians world over, some of them very, very cocky and rude, especially to women. But when I met Fidel, being that Fidel, I never really traveled out of Africa, the kind of manners that he had, it touched me. So he was very nice, and I went to Costa place to do a show. Costa too was very nice to me. He made me to come on the radio for free. I can't forget that because I was doing charity work, and he said, Grace, once it is charity, you don't have to pay. He had never met me before. He just saw me that day, and he said, oh, you can come and ask me. But Fidel struck something in me. I can never forget that. The way he was so well-mannered. And I was so sad that I heard that he was sick, and I really never knew God would have been maybe of help to him in that state, But may his soul rest in peace, and I hope God, forgive him and take him into heaven if he has anything to be forgiven for. Also, I would like to say that I really used to hope, although I never were really the one that I would vote for we are as a Liberian citizen. But I really used to hope that we would have done something because I felt in my mind that The voice of the people is the voice of God. The people wanted this man, and I wanted him to be there because they wanted him. I wouldn't have chosen ever, but the majority of the people carry the rule. Carry there. So for we are to come in and he failed to do audit. When he failed to do audit, that's when he failed the Liberian people. And I was very disappointed in him for that because I thought that he would do way better than that. He did not do the audit. It took Liberia backwards. And maybe because of that, who knows? Except Liberian people change their direction in voting and bring a very new political party to take over that country, they will never see audit. I saw a video, I never even watched it, but this Ben stole and they beat her head with hammer, they bust her head on the car because he stole some few household items from somebody's house. Not in Liberia, I think it happened in another country. And I started to wonder how these people would do these things when the government officials then are stealing right in their nose, but they're worshiping these people that steal. But then when a poor man steals because he doesn't have it, which is wrong for him to do, it's not right, but he doesn't have it, and you kill him, but the government official take away from you and your future generation of generations to come, and you let him still there, stay in a position. You don't even get on the street to protest and say, we want this person down. These people become millionaires overnight. And the president and the government that come into power refuse to audit them. And you don't even have the strength to say, you know what, we'll stay in the street and we'll make sure we do an arrest, a human arrest, that these people, we don't want them in certain positions. And when you stand for your right like that, the government's supposed to yield to that. The international community will come here and say, you know what, the people standing their ground, they don't want a particular person. But the people don't want to do it, they just relax. They lay men steal, you kill them. But the real rogues who taking away your future, you lead them there to steal. And you worship them, they are adored. So I just still confused with why is it that I'm not really confused in the sense, but I think maybe because I read it when we had to do something in his presidency for this man not to audit these people, and you come back to tell us, oh, you know, the people need a Togar, the men were on the list. At this point in time, you were blame Amara Connect for anything. They never had anything on him. So if they had something on him substantial, then maybe they would have audited him, or maybe he had something on them. Who knows why they never did it? So we don't want speculations on this platform on anybody, to tell you the truth. The government people, the people voting in power, are supposed to do their jobs in auditing these people, so that it bring the audit to in the public, to tell the people this is what happened. Because even a lay person who went to 7th grade can really read and understand, they can read an audit done by the accountant and know that this is wrong and this is right. So we are just like the people that the Liberian people choose over and over again has failed the country, and I'm so devastated to know that in Liberia, a chief justice makes $20,000 in one of the poorest countries in the world, the 8th poorest country in the world. How in the hell, when one of the richest country in the world, this great America, the chief justice in 2023, John Roberts, you know what he made per month? $23,891. You cannot compare like in any stage or form with a great America. Just few, maybe a couple of thousands from the one your chief justice making in a country that people can't even find water to drink. That people, because of drinking dirty water, they got all kinds of things on their skin. Until the people in the world wonder how Liberians can come with. They always got these sicknesses where they go out on their body and they say, oh, that witchcraft. Or they get all the big things on their neck because of the poor drinking water. But yet, people say, I don't know if anybody who has a good heart will lie down in the night and know that they make $20,000 a month, while other people can't even afford to send their children to school. What kind of constitution and what kind of system that these people have that is just not helping their own people, or they are just wicked to one another? It's always already known that Liberians are nice to other people, but very wicked to one another. So all these things, we're very disappointed with them. And concerning the training that the men that ran away from the prison, yeah, the people run away from the prison because your God rules them right in the government, they're living free. Why the people must be in prison? People need that to be in the prison so they get a chance to run away. Let them run away because there are real rogues there. They in government, they ride for the $5,000 car. They sign it. They getting the money. Then why other people just who were store something small, someone else just store. The only part that will help me.
How many government they had to that case?
The only part that will help me, what are the rappers there and the murderers there. But the people who store, seriously, they should go. You got a road right in the government that is stealing on a daily basis, and you're still signing paper for them to go and ride for the $5,000 car on a dilapidated road. The people need a $15,000, $12,000 car. It's a very good car with a used car to get him. So like bro, the case is just it can't add up. You think about it all day. You're here with you. How I won't say. That's what I have to say.
All right, Grace. Grace, I express. I know the government when I'm plenty of 2 or 3 to 40 minutes. I beg you. Let me give it for you. I can't stop you.
You did a book. I mean, God sacrifice to keep pressing up. The person that person working there, he getting paid. Maybe that $200 they pay in a month. Who can put a say in house way just to keep people in prison? Man, someone let the people go. Sure, please.
Yeah.
Why the other one they mean the air condition house sleeping and can be running behind person to stay in prison? No. That's just not right.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, again, welcome to the closing argument. Should we take some calls, gentlemen?
Yeah.
What the guys in there?
And the guy come out, let's take some calls. Let's talk about everything here today. How we see it. If you guys are hearing up. But Sylvester, so how is it going now with is the finance minister in Monrovia or is he in China as well? Did he join the delegation there?
So the finance minister cannot be in China. He would have to be in Monrovia. As a matter of fact, the China minister did appear, I think, a couple of days ago for his confirmation hearing. He has not yet been confirmed by the honorable, as we call it, the honorable Liberia Senate. He hasn't been confirmed, but but he had a very wonderful and very detailed appearance for the hearing. Remember, he's one person that went on to the job. I believe he got the bullet puppet now as former Minister of Finance, former Budget Director, former Foreign Minister, from the perspective of the Foreign Ministry, and he emphasized that he's going to introduce what he referred to as economic diplomacy to ensure and connect, and as Minister of Finance, Budget Director. So he understands it very well. So he now has the bullet puppet now. I think everyone, he's the most dependable and experienced person going to government to help move the process. I think he's very savvy, and we hope that the hearing process was very, very much okay. So he's in the country. It is hopeful. I mean, we're hopeful that he may be confirmed sometime this week, if not early next week. And then he start the boy. He be commissioned by the president immediately. Then he start business. But he's not in China. But he may probably, if confirmed this week, he may be part of the team to the General Assembly in New York sometime this month. But I'm hopeful that he will be confirmed because he's going back to his old terrain. The only thing now there's that new job description added to his portfolio currently, to his past portfolio. Before he was just Minister of Finance. Now it's Minister of Finance and Development Planning. So that's going to be the new portfolio. But I think he's on course to perform as a very learned and experienced person in the area. So yeah, he's not yet confirmed, but he will.
So when you were minister, you were not finance, planning, and the budget?
No. It was not finance planning when you were minister. It was just it was finance, Minister of Finance. Now they added planning and development to it. You know, they merge the Ministry of Planning and Development.
Budget Bureau was also added, right?
Yeah, budget. Yeah, it was Minister of Finance. It was not Minister of Finance. The budget it was just Minister of Finance because you have the Department of Budget there.
Because he used to work for a Budget Bureau.
He was the first. He was the director of the. He was the last director of the budget. When he served as, or any appointed him in 2006 as the director of budget. In 2008, when Anthony Saye resigned, when he was appointed as Minister of Finance, it was the time to merge. The merge.
I'm one of those who are against. I mean, I believe. I don't think it will helpful to merge the Minister
No,
of Finance.
because I think I heard Ellen. I thought her Ellen always wanted that. Even when she was at the ministry, she always wanted to blend it. And when she became president, she did.
Planning economics is a big era. It's a big era. But again, like I got money line. Somebody line quickly. Go ahead, caller. Yeah, you guys got a minute, okay?
Good evening, Peabody. Good evening to all the panelists and analysts on the show. This is Abraham calling from New Jersey. Great show, guys, and thanks for your effort. You guys are playing a part, to enlighten our society and help to foster the progress of our nation. Listen, two things real quick I wanted to address. One of them, I think I turned it earlier on with regards to this issue of China. Sometimes I think it's good for people to keep reading on the impact China's money is having on the continent itself. Because from what economic, one of these economic newspaper reported some time back, that China controls almost 46 of seaports and airports in Africa. And meaning they are controlling the builder, and they literally control them. So if you're going to have an erection of the oil terminal, refinery terminal in Liberia, China is just going to build that and leave it. She's going to literally control it, because why? The intention is, for all indication, what I'm gathering, the intention is to literally kind of supply some of these countries that, like Burkina Faso and other people, that are going to be benefiting. And China is going to control those things literally. All right? That's one of it. I just wanted to highlight that. And secondly, what my sister Grace keep talking about, the salary of the Chief Justice, mind you, you have 3 branches of government in Liberia, and the Chief Justice is the head of the judicial branch of government in Liberia. Now, she kept talking about equity. If you're going to be having the president get astronomical salary, you got a speaker get astronomical salary, the Chief Justice, whoever, is not going to sit there to accept chicken change. And I mean, I'm not saying that I'm in support of it. I'm bitterly against that. Because if you're going to be having a lawmaker making $15,000, $12,000, what do you expect to have on one of the branches of government? But those things were introduced by the Ellen government, and today the ripple effects keep dragging on. Because back in the days, during the Taylor era, you had representatives and senators making less than $3,000 in Liberia, and they gave them one car for the duration of their tenure. All right, but right now, Ellen came and introduced this thing, and it's a continued effect, and definitely until you can get a structural reform in our place, it is a serious problem. Because it's ridiculous to pay people $20,000, but yes, that's the kind of thing you got over there, because your president and your speakers and other people who had other branches of government, they are making astronomical monies. So yes, the Chief Justice will stand by that. It's justifiable in that direction. But I give this guy, let me not take all of your time, man.
Thank you.
Right, guys. Anybody else? Anybody else calling? Let's do this, and then we will call it a day and come back on Wednesday.
Meanwhile,
hopefully Grace will have our flyers ready by then.
This week, $4,635,000 we spent on 103 lawmakers for vehicles. $4,635,000 will be spent on our lawmakers for 103 vehicles.
And I believe I think it's reasonable. 103 is these are people that make the law for the country. It's
reasonable. But don't we're giving up $45,000 for vehicle for every 3 years. Get out of mind. Man,
no, but how do you call it?
But that's the reason why the particular event the week I'm not going to run for. That's my area. I want to run for the money. And then two, because people are talking about this, community engagement. You know, I won't call it name. I will embarrass a lawmaker. I was in Liberia recently. I was sitting down with a new elected lawmaker. He said, Georgie, I want you to travel with me tomorrow or the week to go to my district and see what I can spend. I said, listen to me. You shouldn't be spending our money. You put money in the budget to empower the people. They won't beg you. But I think in Liberia, we love people go to our homes in the morning, in our home. And that's why when I go like where I stay, it's fence. It's fencing because you come in and go sit down, come in, can't stay my fence. I see one baby. I know you there. Don't come there. And I want to do. Don't come be begging that way. No, but because you empower the people, so the people come to you, feel good about it. Yeah, and in Liberia, everybody get 2-3 cars moving in the convoy. Like which one people just love to be all the look. Oh, you're seeing that. Look, we are seeing that with them having social gathering. You see that? You see that? They get about 4 phones. The A got one, the man got one, and they got 2 in front of them. They charge of that. And say, oh, I'm out of phone there. Bring out of phone. Look, I say, yeah. Like, oh, love that. Look, I'm on the job. That's
and
all.
then that's why I disagree with Eddie Johnson said when she did that. She did that particular decision she made to pay the people that kind of money. She destroyed Liberia when she did that. That's the part I get against her governance. It was very, very wrong.
You know, somebody said on Saturday,
but no, when it comes to that, Ellie didn't give it to them actually. They took it out. She told them.
And they said they forced it for her.
They didn't agree.
No, but listen, but people.
But she the
president. No, they got it. They were veto it. They probably went 2-tail both of us veto it. They were all around the president.
No, people listen now. Somebody, I think was someone on Saturday, and somebody said this. They said, for instance, right, the budget goes to the House. The president come and said, look, the budget comes from the executive branch. So look, we're putting in 30% of the budget for agriculture, 30% for health, and this amount for this one. And the salary, say, lawmakers, your salary shouldn't pass the amount, and you're sending to the people. If they come, they tamper with that budget, as president, then say, I will veto it. Veto say, I go on to the Liberian people. I go my country. I come in, brother. I go on a country where I go to Basel. As you see, I put money in the budget for agriculture, education, and health. Guess what? Your poor Tokyo, they say they refuse. Their money will come to the county for industry sectors, but they're stopping it. So I veto it.
But you don't. The thing is, Tomalin, we don't even have a history of when the legislature ever did that. You know, we have a country where the president. We have a country where the president practically runs everything.
Yeah,
but the issue.
Togar, how you say that?
Just 1 minute, please. Just 1 minute. I wanted to make the impact.
My point.
The president, the whole Ellen Johnson scenario that you're talking about. This is where I come in defense of the legislature. Because no, it's not about contesting or not. I want to give you a quick history. Because it evolved from somewhere. No, please. It evolved from somewhere. You had Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. You had Ellen Johnson Sirleaf bringing in her friends to government. They know that the legislature has the appropriation power. She brought her friends and started paying them astronomically. And you expected the legislature to sit down there, like you said, you went to a lawmaker's house and you saw the number of people. I don't think when Antoinette Sayer came to Liberia, people used to go to her to stay to find administrative. Nobody
That's not an issue.
No, let me frank about this. Nobody knew you in the country. No, please. That's part of the issue.
Professional job. She didn't have to get about money.
Of the issue that why you don't explain to the people. You had a guy saying that to Marita making $25,000 US out of honor Ellie. No, you had no issue with it.
No,
50,000.
Get it
ready. You think that the legislature is supposed to be taking $2,000 out of salary while Ellie is paying her people $25,000-$30,000 out a month? And then later on, these same people,
the president have the power to land veto. Yeah,
these same people will come back and contest against the lawmakers and win them. You know when anyone leaving office, almost 50% of the people that work in her government were running against the lawmakers. Do you know that? Including her relative that was sitting down to the Ministry of Internal Affairs.
Running against the hat.
They were running against all the lawmakers because they have more money.
Togar defending the lawmakers because Togar won't go there.
No, it's not about defending them. I'm just
going he's not defending them. He's saying the truth.
But is there a right to contest?
If you were working in a sector, and all the people around you are making certain figure and you making far less, but you got it ready, you will want more. I cannot be making appropriation as a
so
you're paying ministers more than me. I will not accept it.
You're agreeing when I
will
say
not accept it. It's a fact. The man is a lawmaker. The man making appropriation, and you paying your friend in the government. You bringing them to America, everywhere around the world, and you paying them to pay 30,000. You say the lawmakers supposed to be making less. That's unacceptable.
I agree.
That's unacceptable. We should have told Ellie not to pay her friend that money.
I agree.
But when I said last week,
So the lawmakers claiming they're paying key from somewhere.
No,
and we must say that.
I think you getting it wrong. Ellen pay.
No, you getting it wrong. Because the lawmakers increasing their money key from somewhere. Ellie brought her friends from around the world and started paying them usually, while lawmakers were making peanuts and the public were on the lawmakers still every day. So the lawmakers had to increase their money. That's why it came from.
When I say
that's why it came from. I used to be I worked on Capital Hill at the time.
Yes. Go ahead.
So you agree with me when I say if I'm bringing in 20 million, 50 million to the government revenue, as we pay good money.
No,
you agree with me, right?
No,
I don't agree.
No, you must know that.
I don't agree with you.
Let me tell you about this.
We must have a ceiling. We must have a ceiling for everybody.
No. Part of the reason why
for government officials.
And number one, Ellie didn't just arbitrarily increase salary. Togar,
okay, but Ellie was giving people so much. In fact, the telecommunication setup are making up to 20,000-30,000 there per month.
Togar coming
up. You want to lawmakers to agree with that? You can be lawmaker that thing happy to you. Ministers who are not elected will make more money to you when you lawmaker.
We got your point, Togar. We got your point, but yeah, it's it. I thought you would be okay and fair enough to strike the balance here. There have been no one in the history of Liberia that have even taken 30,000 or 20,000. No.
25,000.
You have to be very clear.
$25,000.
You know what he makes now, Togar? You know what he makes now?
I come in.
You said you can't talk 20,000, but Bien is the vice president for company in New York.
No. Everything else that he has said. There have been other. Listen to me now. I work with the GSC
so much.
I work with the GSC
and that's local people said the people who are working at Noka, you know how much money they were making?
No, not each other.
I make that. Can you be lawmaker and earn less than minister? You will take that.
Took 1 minute.
A lawmaker is elected by people.
Yeah, 1 minute, please. I agree that we appoint a lawmaker needed to elevate their salary. But there was this issue about the consolidated process investigation on payroll and other things. I've worked with the GSC before. And let me say this to you. The whole thing is that sometimes we can embellish. And the way we embellish things in Liberia is sometimes very unfortunate. There's been no government official in the history of Liberia that ever made 25,000 or 30,000. The max here after the audit is 15,000. Now, let me give you Bien get 50,000. Bien 50,000.
Look, Bien just wanted to serve the country. Bien just wanted to serve the country.
And
the money that Bien had to do in Liberia,
nobody
was way more than what he was getting in Liberia.
When Ben Sanvee was president pro tempore, I traveled with him one day at RIA. You are leaving the country, and there's a private jet I was waiting for BN to take in all of that.
He love his country. That's all.
He did love
the president pro temp was waiting for his plane when BN was getting on private jet to lead the country. I'm a man. You know what's happening in this country? I was at the airport
all the time. He's
private jet. They were making lawmakers to almost appear useless. You can't be a lawmaker and accept that. People that are not even elected. People that are elected and they make you
stop player heading. Those people came back to America and still make big time money. So they're not depending on like real money.
You know how many of those people we know that they stay here today? I know somebody that still live in Liberia today because they could not make that kind of money.
Big, yeah.
I'm telling you.
You know how many people make right now?
That's everybody they platform B, and I won't call people need. I know some people who came here instead of making 200,000-300,000 a year, they stay here. They never left the country. Say any government left, they never left.
They're not from Liberia.
Yes, people who said they were making 200,000-300,000 in America.
They retire. They retire.
They retire. They get free money. This country get free money, bro. And
now
what really hurts on lawmakers. Now what hurts on lawmakers? The fact that they saw Ellen spreading money with her friends like that, and they were getting far less, but when they go to their constituencies, they saw hundreds of people come on there for money. They say we increase our own. Then she got there and said they took it, she didn't give it to them. But what you are giving to her friend? And nobody used to go to her friend and do. I am telling you, nobody knew where Anthony Saya was living in Liberia.
Why you know I don't want to do a professional job?
But everybody know where lawmakers live in Liberia. You don't know that.
Togar,
you don't want to say you want to serve the people. Y'all go there and make it. Y'all want to serve the people. Y'all go there. Y'all talking about minister getting 20,000. When you to pack all the concession agreement, they pay
no.
$50,000.
If I ever become a
signature,
we not sit there and ministers make 2 times more than us.
I would not say.
No, when it comes to lawmakers, I'm very passionate about it. You know, very passionate.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you get that.
Let me ask you one question. Peabody, I want to ask you one question.
Great Guar.
Yes.
Ask the question.
You talking about bien, where he said bien Cassidy or where he is. You talking about bien Cassidy. What you want to tell us? So bien Cassidy was making 19 figures. Let me just say that. Let me say. He was making 19 figures in America, yeah. And it cost money to go back to Liberia.
He begged him to go.
That they were going to get in public services to.
He was on a loan, Grace. He was on a loan.
In the war, he went to Liberia. He was so rich there, and he knew that money was going to be small for him.
You know what money?
He wanted to go to, why he couldn't tell the person, you know what?
I'll let him talk before salary. You know what money PM makes right now? You know what money he makes right now? I'll let him talk before salary.
To be fair, he had a good job with Johnson & Johnson.
In fact, he just like
Johnson & Johnson, right?
No, Sylvester. The country
so cool. If you want Kanye, you can Kanye on a service. If you're not money making,
yeah, you gotta care. You gotta be proud like your brother, Chris. You gotta be proud like your brother.
The enterprise is very smart, man, and you were
smart.
What do we bash on lawmakers every day? How they make 6 stars in that lawmakers earn at most 6 stars in the country. You get posted in a never elected. It's incredible.
Togar, no president in the history of Liberia. No president in the history of Liberia. Let me say this quickly, so you can get this. I know your zest for the Honorable House of Representatives and Senate is high. I know that your support base will never evaporate, not soon, right? But let them make some conjecture here. And I know you will sit in your own smart room and try to analyze.
I would not reflect on nothing.
You're playing to catapult yourself there in 2029 election. It's a run. And listen, I will give you some political. I will give you pro bono. I'll give you pro bono service. Trust me. As a political scientist myself, student of politics, I'll give you pro bono. You'll not give me damn. I will set your campaign agenda. What about a grandpa you want to contest? Togar.
Man, I can contest. I'm a buzzer. I can contest.
But let me just say this quickly. Let me just say there have been no president in the history of Liberia that gave the legislature more leverage. I can recall in 2015. No, early 2016. No, 2015. Yes, 2015. When I sat with Madame Salif, I went to her house or in her office in her office, and I said to her, Madam President, there was this conversation about the whole thing about the way she elevated lawmakers. And you know what the president said? And what you say here is contrary to what the president did not bring her friends so they're getting big money. The president set the agenda for those guys because of making law in the country. They needed to look good and do things. She was the first president, as a matter of fact, let me remind you on this. She questioned it. And when she said it to me, she said, you know, one of the reasons why I can hear you on the radio advocating a good job you're going all over the country, or do they kind of support your work you're doing for democracy? The president said she pushed to support the lawmakers to bring dignity to them so that they would do the people's job. Do you know? You talk about Boyson Gaffney, he's one of my mentors and my former boss man. I admire him a lot and respect him. The first 100 pickups, after the Meta gave, you know who loved it for that? It was Madame Salif, because she wanted to bring dignity to them. When Asada Meta brought those brand new pickups and gave to all the lawmakers, both senators and lawmakers in the country then. You heard the story. She loved it for that. She didn't stop there. She have worked with them. She said there's a need for legislation. Because when she took over as president, we were considered a pariah state. I'm a lawmaker. $700. $700. Who elevated them? Who elevated them?
Who are making $700?
Lawmakers when I'm making $700 when 2006, the salary was $700. I know the rest of the story.
But this is public service, so I don't know how much.
Where they end it? 15,000.
Their highest paid person is a CEO. Public service is not
and
a
now
place to go get
it has
rich.
drastically.
I agree. I agree with that. I agree.
So why are you?
And to me, I'm working for free.
Great work for government. So great, a public service you doing? The government you working for?
Yeah.
Great work for government.
I work for government here. What I'm telling you.
You got paid great. You got paid great.
Pay me for it. I do that to say I just.
No, but that's the part. You got paid great.
But mind you,
stay there because I will have to retire in 4 years. So I retire. I will be vested. So that's why I stay there. But they can't even pay me for my qualification.
But do you also agree, Grace, that do you also agree that in the very government you work with government, the president of government, there are certain people in government making more than 6 digits. Some of them making
My director, that can serve like a minister, like minister, like education minister or something like that. She makes like a chicken change over 100 and change, 100,000 and change.
Yeah, but I assist you.
Yeah, because I was looking at certain positions in some of the states, some positions, some of them make 200,000-300,000.
Yes,
yeah.
We read here. Look at on a broadcast administration. On this broadcast administration. You got a minister of education that came from abroad and was giving special money for resettlement.
Was that confirmed?
Yes. And you say lawmakers are entitled to nothing.
You want to tell me that we got no educated person in our country that could be education
that could do the work?
Togar, she live about 2 choice away from you.
Imagine. So my issue is, Tomalin was just in the country. Tomalin was in the country the other day. Tomalin understands exactly what it means to just travel once with a lawmaker. Practically, the money that lawmakers earn in this country
makes
are basically giving back to the people.
More
than the ministers. More than the ministers.
In America, is the governor from New York.
The minister then, especially when you go to their home there, you know that nobody interacts with them.
In America, right? The highest paid governor in America is the New York governor. She makes $250K. Followed by the California, Pennsylvania, they all make 100.
So we need to set a pay grade for the country.
Well, guess what?
But the same way we say in the president, the same way we say in the country, the president earns around $22,000, right? We can't have the president. We can't have the vice president. We say vice president era. So the same way we're supposed to set the pay grade in a way that a minister is not to make more money than a legislator. I don't accept that.
But minister are making more money than
anybody.
Minister making 7,000.
Constituency.
Minister growing 7,000. So
okay, there should not be any the kind of money they earn. They and lawmakers not even supposed to earn the same money. Lawmakers,
man. Come on.
So guys, you just told me I'm coming to that. Me and you were running the same district. They lawmakers me and you were running the same district.
They're not supposed to be. Let's be frank about it. The same way the pay grade for president is around 22,000. And you can't down to vice president and that. It should come down to legislators before you come to ministers.
So 2,000
how you will say minister and lawmaker more and or minister more even be more than lawmakers. As though these people are elected, as though they're not obligated to nobody, they're obligated to the president. Who the president can wake up in the morning and start to fire.
But listen now, they say our president in Liberia, President Boga, he makes. And they say he made 13,000 for a month, but now he's making 8,000 a month. He caught it sorry about 40%.
It's not true. That's in our fake news. The president of the country earns $22,000 a month.
That's fake news.
If no, that was a mistake by the board for BBC.
Income was President Boga reviewed for like annual salary was 30,000.
Why you think nobody in the executive earns more than the president?
The president earns 22,000. Nobody in the executive earns more than the president.
So
why you think a minister must earn more than a lawmaker?
40%.
Can you imagine? We got poverty crisis. Look at the kind of money they put me. Like brought in poverty crisis.
You sure the president made 22,000?
22,000
Okay,
$100 a month.
The Constitution, too many guys are constitution over here.
I'm telling you, then you say
the constitution what the president
made $22,000 every month.
The Constitution.
The president's salary is in the Constitution. It's salary in the Constitution.
$22,000 a month. That's why the president.
Ladies and gentlemen, Togar is running 2020 now. So right now, he won't make sure that he wants to say they play tomorrow.
Tomali, if I could be fake here, I could be fake on the show. They don't have to be fake all along to get where he wanted to get. I could say no, lawmaker must make even $2,000 if I won't get the people's support. For me, I just got to be real about it. I know what lawmakers go through in the country. I know it. I know it. The ministers go through nothing. The ministers go through nothing. The ministers, nobody can stay with the minister does.
They love it. They love to see what they do, what they go through. They love it.
Why you think somebody must be at LTA and be making $15,000? Why a lawmaker is making $6,000?
When the budget comes, you tell the say, put the money in the budget for my county, my district.
Of course.
But you concern about yourself. And you say they go through something. No, they encourage it. They want it to happen.
But my point to you, Togar, all the money you making love there, you yelling to say somebody can't kill you. How is it that all the money in the budget and not put for the lawmaker, we can't see nothing they're doing? The only person who can see doing something that Musa Perete in your own country. We see nobody and he
that one that Musa pressing up, that
Musa building, yes.
Pressing up money.
That Musa pressing up money.
All the money
it's different.
All your fees.
No, that Musa pressing up money. No,
my
because
question to you is all the money that people say anytime. The people need money. What have the people done in the district to show? What have we seen?
You want me talk about something?
I don't want you to answer me, sir.
You don't want me to answer, so you see. I will tell you, and that is the problem.
One of my friends went in the Ethiopia, he went to go do some job there. When they make him from there, he says, I will get out of the country. The thing the man saw in the rural part, like, bro, he got so
great. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. No, listen 1 minute. Give me a second. Give me a second. Grace, you won't be lawmaker. You won't be lawmaker too. So let me explain this. Okay, let me explain this. Grace, one of the things you first of all need to understand, the lawmakers make this thing appropriation. Everything you see the executive doing, the lawmaker participates in it. So but the thing about it, some of the mistakes we made is that we think that when we see the ministers doing a piece of work, like when public welfare facing a role, we think that it's the minister of public works that is fixing that role. No, lawmakers are involved. Now, because the public does not understand that, the minister of public work can go contest later on and win any election. And because the public thinks that all the road are key that the minister of public work brought here, so let's vote for the minister.
But
the public does not get to realize that lawmakers were involved in the road coming here. Now, some of the reasons why you see lawmakers are not infusing in the budget. Now, some of the reasons you see lawmakers are putting in the budget, direct projects from themselves called the legislative project.
The problem is, part of our problem is the lawmakers themselves make things to make the people, their various constituents to believe that they will create mountain where mountain should not be created, right?
Exactly.
So that's the process here. And that's the whole thing. We need to reorientate those guys how to engage in campaign processes. If you went to the people, if you went to the people and told them
the
that
society,
I come in 1 minute, I come in. If you went to the people, no, it's not about God to start. It's because of the way they channel the campaign process.
No,
I will bear a role. After the process, they will do that through the line. They probably. Why you think every lawmaker has every money people there?
My man, listen, Sylvester.
And that's one of the reasons why I would never contest the law in the house. I will not.
Sylvester, this is not the Western word. It is not possible. Take, for example, our contesting. Every day I go into my house in Buchanan, there was a market there that needed to be fixed. Should I say I'm a big lawmaker before I find the money to feed the people market?
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yes.
And then the person who opposes me come and just fix the market tomorrow morning, and while passing by my own neighbor.
Ali, you're starting a change. You're starting an example.
You don't understand the situation?
No.
It is difficult to be a lawmaker
and don't directly impact the lives of the people that be waiting. Okay, say you want to do agriculture here, you're win. The Minister of Agriculture can't do it for you. Then be even like now be a CDC lawmaker and be in a UP government until you go to the Minister of Agriculture for the Minister of Agriculture to can't do project in your district. They're not going to do it. Everything is political about us. They're not going to do it.
But who did that? Why everything is political about you?
It will always be like that. How the society.
No, it will not. It shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be like that.
But it's difficult for you to change the mindset of the people about it. If you are Minister of Education, the Minister of Education will want to choose more educational subsidy or whatever to a lawmaker from the government's district as compared to an opposition. You saw Yeke Koluba on a judge where many days Yeke will jump and say, okay, the bidding the market, I mean, the one made the market to come here. You have to go seize the movement. These are situations that we've seen over the years here. They're not going to change just now. You can't be a lawmaker and run away from it. And that's why most of the ministers, as soon as they're wrapping all their ministerial jobs, they're running for office. They now take up most of the superintendents, for example, check around you, all the superintendents are contest for office. Because the superintendent will be carrying truck somewhere to one public school and the superintendent will say, I brought a truck for y'all. The lawmaker not carry nothing to that school yet because he's waiting for legislative funds. And the superintendent will come run and be in that district.
That's why they're supposed to have education. They're supposed to be having programs that will educate the people on LBS. This is how these things are ran. This is how they do it here. In the 20 other countries, they have
to educate.
Why you laughing?
Great, you're not understanding today. Grace. Live, Sylvester live among these people. Don't mind Sylvester trying to play all these games. Sylvester live here. He know these things.
No, there's no shenanigans. There's no shenanigans I'm bringing in.
That's why you on Sylvester. Sylvester, you and I said no to be a lawmaker in Liberia. The difficulties it come with. Most lawmakers, some of the men got to be changing their telephone number there in their country. I love it. They see lawmakers go in their country. You don't have to go.
Guys, so we'll be here on Wednesday. But I say tomorrow, Togar, Liberia adjourn tomorrow, right?
Yeah, Algeria, yeah.
So yeah, let's hopefully.
I think they say Algeria is top in the zone with three points.
Liberia forced a draw
won
last week. So Liberia adjourn tomorrow. Hopefully, we'll be adjourn tomorrow. I'm coming to be adjourn tomorrow. The coach we'll have the coach as our guest. Maybe after the game, reach out to the coach, our Italian coach, and what the man is, Marino something. He'll be our guest here. But hopefully, but I'm sure the Liberia can here. But so he better, if you want, he better make sure win. But he can't. Liberia will call him.
Where are we playing Algeria? In Algiers?
We play in Monrovia.
Oh, okay. I thought Algiers.
Yeah, so that's good.
The guy, I think I heard the coach is one of the most performing in recent history.
Hey, you see, because
he has not lost any game
now. But the coach will come here.
For me, he not only performing, but we've not lost any game on him. I think we've been enjoying all the game, but to do? They're better than losing.
Tomorrow, the chief of sports, President Boga will lead the team. Let's see what happens.
Every day. Ali enjoying all.
But tomorrow wear blue to cheer our brother victory. Give victory to all Liberians. Give victory to all Liberians. Give victory to all Liberians.
Before we leave, I just want to ask a question. Everybody on the show, everybody, 100%, everybody. What is our anticipation tomorrow for the debate? Donald Trump, the bulldozer.
Tomorrow, because Trump. Well, I can't talk about because I just was sure of Biden, but Bobby go start freezing.
Bobby Bruno.
How is that put that day? I think Bobby not ready yet.
Look, the first, I felt.
When you enter the hall, you say, "Don't cry." You say, "Hello." I say,
I was drinking my star. I took the star. I got fair with myself. The first 5 minutes I knew, I said it's a bad day.
So at one point, John said, "What are you talking at?"
I can't even understand what he's saying.
But I told my girl coming out tomorrow. I'm sure the girl, that woman, so she understand him. If you forward Trump try, you mess you up. Don't what you do.
The woman is informed.
What you do for the country. and also try to match your record.
The man started bullying the woman already. The man said the woman, sorry for the expression, the man said the woman dog. She's not smart.
So that so
he said it yesterday, right? But no, and he not smart. He's the more dog and Tony.
He talking. I have a question. He's talking about $1 and Marco Rubio.
Yeah. Then he won't put it out.
But George Bush was lacking something until they met Donald Trump. When they said dog, they have call us back.
They got 27% of the independent state want to know her, so she got tomorrow. Her opportunity tomorrow to show her to prove herself tomorrow. I believe she will do it tomorrow.
Take control, man. Tomorrow we're going to feed. I better feed tomorrow. So on our way.
Thank you.
Tomorrow. How much the ticket?
The game. Togar should tell us how much the ticket.
No, I don't know.
Yeah, how much the ticket?
We'll get running FIFA around. $5.
Imagine because I mean
they want more people to come in the fee
because the team has not been impressive. So I think that's
so you need to reduce the ticket money.
The team has not been impressive.
And even with that, most of our people will not have the money to go.
We got
no Grace, but this time they were in the first ranking of that league. You don't even get space. When a team is impressive, the people can want to watch the game. Yeah, but when the team not showing any real courage, like Brempo can be tired with.
That's what happened. Okay, guys.
Yeah, before let me just say something quick. You know that the caller who called was saying, I was stressing on saying on your salary was not so. I just used her salary as the highest. I used her salary, but I was talking to everybody across the board how they make money and leave the people out, and that's why I was just stressing on from the president down. I just feel the money that they pay them too much for a poor country like Liberia. So that's why I was just trying to.
Okay. Well, good night. Tomorrow, our professional will score. You come and get Rabbit tomorrow morning, you score for that.
I can just imagine the time I bring to go play Ghana. When I brought to Ghana to play like, so I saw Coca-Cola on the field.
So I miss we are right. I miss we are now, right?
You miss him.
We are. But do so. We are do so. Everybody cool. Oh man. But that boy there, hey man. That boy.
Yeah, we get a football the money now.
Thank you, guys. Bye bye.
Mr. Henry.
And I'll take so certain we gotta go to time check. Is exactly 33 minutes. That's 27 minutes climbing up to 1 o'clock. It has been so amazing, informative, and educative here on the program, the closing argument on the Renaissance. We're to join the team that's going to be on Wednesday at Wishtown. They're going to be at the game. My name is Heron Jada. I've been here with the man, Mind, Toby, and together we've been pushing you to join us. That's going to be 5 a.m. in the morning at Wishtown when we resume broadcast. For the on behalf of the team, we'll say bye-bye for now. And